Y'all, it's your boy Aniki coming at you with another episode of the Church of MHA on this fine Sunday. Hope you're enjoying the weather wherever you are. We're not exactly enjoying it here. So, first off, we got Bishop Squid with us today.
Oh, hey guys. All I mostly did this weekend is watch Training Day and um mostly just do some research for science. That's it, really.
We got Archbishop East.
Undefeated of the East, baby. What it do? And boy, do we got a treat for you. If you'd like to see me go off on niggas, then you will be pleased this episode. But let's get it started up in here.
Come one, come all, gather, sit, sit, sit. Hey, Diepacks. You know, somebody said you should be on the big MHA YouTuber collaborator stream. You should probably DM me on Twitter what you think about that. Just saying, DPH. Um. Anyway. Uh, how y'all doing this weekend? How y'all been doing? I see we got Najir.
Very good, man.
Let's see, we got
We've
Tarnish
been out
back,
here.
Cameron Bailey. Let's see. Speed Blitz, yeah, it's a little stifling where I'm at too. It's pretty humid. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I live like 200 feet from a river. So yeah, let's see. All right. Ooh, we already hit that 30. Let's see. I like the Jalen Baxley. I'm glad to see a lot of people who talk in the chat sometimes pulling up. It's good to see y'all. It's good to see y'all. All right. We got enough people? Yep. We do. Ooh. Chapter 315. Did I accidentally hit 316? Yep, let's do this. Let me fix that real quick. Boom. Let's go. All right. Show the jump. Yep. 315. And we are here. My Hero Academia. I know that kid. Ooh. So yeah, definitely more with it than a lot of us thought.
Can we appreciate how well built Overhaul is? Very good back development.
Squid, I mean, yes, he is buff. That's the thing. A lot of these people stay buff. So I know that
When
kid,
did you
huh?
heated them
The one who
wolf?
foiled my plan. Ooh. He's got a real severe case of hero syndrome. Wow. I was hoping you'd be useful, but this is like fate. How about you tag along and ID the target for me on one condition? This shirt's a little small. Nah, I ain't taking revenge for you. That's your grudge. Not that. Don't care about that. I lost everything. I got only one thing left. Bring me to my boss. Boss. Sorry, boss.
The two things that changed from was from the thing was the title change from the scams. Once again, officials winning. And
Yeah, platitudes.
yeah, and then she said, and then also she said, her talking about the shirt, they made it seem like he was talking about Deku in the scans too. So once again, officials clearing everything up.
Yikes. That's what I be talking about, dog. They just be randomly like messing stuff up. Like,
Sad Sasaki looks so well drawn here, man. So beautiful.
like I held up my end of the deal. Take me to the boss now. Let's see. Snap. She's got a fat rifle, like the fattest rifle popping out of her arm. Your hero education taught you to hate one thing above all else, no matter who the victim is. If your own screw up gets them killed, that'll really keep you up at night. Another factor to think about, plus a tough call to make that'll slow him down. That's when I finish the swinging. Let's see. Quirk Fajin. Quirk Fajin. Repeated movement builds up stored motion-based energy for temporary storage and release. While getting shot at, I flexed and extended my legs to protect myself and stored up that energy. Plus, one for all, 45% plus centrifugal force. Everyone in my generation can picture it. The sight of All Might moving faster than a speeding bullet. Faux 100%.
For all those that don't know, faux means fake. It's an imitation.
Time out. Time out.
Thing.
I believe we discussed this already. Hey, Siobhan Robinson back. Because
what do you mean you switching sides, Siobhan?
If you remember, when we were talking about Fajin, I was like, the fact that he like jumped up through that building, I straight up was like, I think it'll allow him to get a pseudo 100% one for all. I talked about this, dog. Because I was like, I don't think he actually ever hits real 100% anymore. So if he uses Fajin to like create a fake 100%, then we get him like, man.
And the thing is with Fajin, the way the quirk works, it acts less like a form, less like an extra force produced by his own legs, and more of a form of propulsion. It's more like Endeavor's flash fire than like Ida's reciprocal burst.
Yeah. Like, who? See, I feel like the thing, okay. And
that's fine.
Tarnish is right, because Tarnish said that they were Tarnish pointed out that they were like streaking his face and stuff. And so
that's what you believe, Siobhan. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like in chapter 1, like when All Might did the I believe was it Texas Smash, and he hit the slime villain, Deku's face, like the skin like became like these massive flaps, and you saw like the inside of it for comedic effect, just to sell the power of it. And now he's doing it to himself.
Yes. Okay. He caught up to my shot? No, it's wilder than that. He was already shifting trajectory as I was aiming and firing. Just wow. We'll talk later, Chisaki. And then you got him pulling in. He's like, I was using one for all at 45%, danger sense, smoke screen, black whip, Fajin, and float. And I switched them on and off in rapid succession, but it was too much to process all at once and my body froze up. Having learned that lesson a second ago, now I've narrowed it down using just one for all, black whip, and Fajin. Got to do this again. Still got one leg's worth of Fajin stored up. Full 100%. Manchester smash. Your gun barrel's busted. It's over, Lady Nagant. Let's see. Not a hint of hesitation. He recognized an enemy for who he was and still leapt into action like it was the natural thing to do. When was it, I wonder? That right arm of yours will make our society a better place. When did the platitudes start making me want to puke? And Deku catches her. The shot headed for Chisaki was off by a little bit. And if you were really allied with All for One and his brand of evil, your very first shot would have hit my lower body and stopped me cold. You've known real darkness, so you gotta know there's a way to bring back the light. Please fight on our side. I can tell you've still got the soul of a hero. Heartbeat. What a guy. Izuku Midoriya. You're the real deal. Uh-oh. Face cracks. The soul is far too fickle, which is why I added a failure clause to your contract.
Oh, this lawyer.
Nagant. Oof. To the very end, you were just a tool to be used. Curse your blessing of a quirk if you must. Alas, the hapless, woeful Lady Nagant. Hey, all right, so we finally see some small, tiny, tiny, tiny feathers for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Ever since then.
I think this kind of shows how much weaker they are because even the really small ones were able to carry like an average sized man.
I told you if they
So,
come back, they will not be the same as before. They will be
man,
severely
free my
weakened
boy.
before
Free my,
even they actually came back. But we got super chats that been on the screen for
they need
well,
to
even
give
before
Yeah.
chapter's
Oh
over,
shit. Yeah. Yeah.
Daryl.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
way
Hold on.
before. So
Hold on. Let me address these super chats. Woo. Jorge Valdez. So this kind of confirms that All Might was using the other quirks without knowing. So the muscle flexing is the last quirk. We don't know for sure.
they already said Deku was the first one to activate all the quirks.
Yeah. Nadir Moed. Midori out here using physics. Yep. Jorge Valdez. Also, AFO is such a dick. Man, I freaking love this series. Yes. And
Siobhan said she switched sides. She put Deku at top 5 on the hero side.
hey. So I saw somebody like say like Horikoshi was an inconsistent writer or something like that about like in reference to this chapter. And I think it's crazy because didn't we have a discussion about how Lady Nagant was likely disillusioned with the hero system, or was that just something I said in my chapter review?
No, nobody here. If you was reading, everybody knew that she wasn't fucking evil and that she would eventually come to the side of the good. She's not Dobby, like I keep saying. She never said there wasn't any true heroes. She just said the fake society and the front that the Hero Association puts up. That's what she had an issue with. And she rather live with an open mind with All for One ruling shit clear as day that he rules shit without the hidden intentions and is just evil rather than put up the fake false society. But she never denied there were real heroes like Dobby. Okay, that was the difference. But niggas really got hypocritical with Nagant and shit like that.
Hold on,
But
AFO is Eisen on steroids. His 5D chess planning is different. Man, AFO is a different breed.
nah, I'm sick. This nigga already pre-planned. How, bro? The layers into one meaning. One thing he did got 5 different outcomes. Like, bro, how did you know Deku was gonna leave? The second you got out, you got Nagant. Then you put Nagant with a clause because you said, nah, she fell. I got some for her ass too. Like, nigga, hello? Oh, Nafisa, I told y'all what was good. I told y'all the only way that bird nigga was surviving is if he not in the field. But nobody can actually give me plausible reasons how Shigaraki and Toga just let Hawk slide. And I would have gave, like I said, I would have gave y'all if he was in on his Oracle shit, sitting in the booth from afar, doing things, but he want to be in the field without wings. Now that he got wings and he's supposed to be active, you best believe I know that nigga definitely get out the paint now.
Like
He him getting feathers works in my favor more than anything. I hope you know that.
also, this confirms that Deku airwalks does do like straight up air running, which I love that.
Silver and Luna, I'm not even sure, bro. Like, this got to be explained even further, cause like, I all this thing off one, he might have implanted a quirk that he can activate. Cause like, if you read Vigilantes, you know how the B bomb quirk worked like that. So I wouldn't even be surprised, like if he had something implanted her that she wasn't aware of. Like this nigga built different, bro. Like it's possible that's just a quirk. It's just a quirk that it implants bombs inside other people. Anything's possible with these quirks nowadays. So
Like, oh, Siobhan Robinson, though this does open the door for Airfield to do the same thing to Shigaraki if he really gets out of line. Oh, no, Google, I do not want to change my name. I hope we get to see even more Spider-Man style gymnastics from Deku to build up his Fajin. Oh, definitely, because now, okay, so what I like about this quirk, real quick, like I want to, is that because he's using a lot of Spider-Man principles because of the fact that, because the other thing is that with float, it becomes arguable you don't need to use Black Whip for mobility.
Yeah.
So instead, what's been done here is that we've gotten a reason for why you should spin through, use the force, use the whip, travel different ways, and actually utilize all the quirks and rotate between them instead of just trying to use like running on the air, because that won't build up as much. Because if he just uses like the gravity, effective gravity combined with 45%, then spins up, then that builds up way more energy. So it does. As somebody mentioned, they were like, I wonder if Fajin makes Deku a wind-up toy. That was actually a comment I got on a video, and to a certain degree, yeah, that's where we're at. It's a wind-up toy.
Yeah. So y'all happy? Y'all getting your explanations, or do y'all need a whole chapter to break it down how this works even further? I'm asking the chat because y'all need an explanation for literally everything. So I'm asking y'all, do y'all need a whole other chapter to break down Fajin even further? Or
one thing I'm very interested in is how much kinetic energy can Fajin store?
Oh, actually, let me address the super chat before that. Because Siobhan, we kind of brushed over that one because we read two of them back to back. Because it wouldn't work if he got a line, because you would just damage Shigaraki inevitably. And whether it's only two sides, all for one you're on. He wants Shigaraki to be the successor, and he's setting him up to surpass him, or he wants his body. There's only two sides you can be on. There's no gray area between that. You're either he is Shigaraki's successor, or you in that garbage ass body snatcher thing. So either one, it doesn't work for him blowing it up. Because you wouldn't want to blow up your fucking successor because you need him to get out of line to be his own man, or you need the body in order to snatch it. So either way, whatever side you on, he needs the body.
One thing I've always been interested in is like why. Like, okay, so we know in the war arc, there's a specific piece of dialogue that's always kind of stood out. It's like his body isn't All Might caliber. We wanted to avoid, like, essentially frying his nervous system, his brain. But if his body is the only thing that's really necessary, why not just go with further modification and just make him USJ levels or strong? Why not just do that?
What do you mean? You want them to go into the lab and just operate on Deku?
No. I'm talking about Shigaraki from the war arc. There was a dialogue Ujiko said that was like, we avoided excessive modification, so he's not All Might caliber. But if the body snatching theory is true, why not go for the extra modification?
Listen, we're not getting into the body snatch theory. It's not happening. Even if he wanted the body, he not taking it. So I don't really give a fuck regardless. I really don't care. It's gonna be Shigaraki at the end of the day. And,
like, was Ujiko not informed? Like,
it don't matter. We gonna skip past that. I do not want to talk about. We're gonna talk about how this nigga need to die, because this nigga is a fucking sicko, and how he ahead of everybody. When you talk about that body snatcher shit, I'm tired of that shit. Look, that shit in the mud.
Listen, also I've been listening to too much Travis Scott and Drake for me, to be honest.
My thing is that she upped the firepower.
Because yeah, you got it.
Because like I mentioned, she already, like, based on her range, was firing. And somebody tried to say that her bullets don't have a caliber, and that's not how caliber works, by the way. Just so you know, if it's a bullet, it has a caliber. Whether or not it's a measured caliber is a separate discussion, which is the one we're technically having. So it's kind of like you just raced a bullet. Look, because if a bullet can fly 2 to 3 kilometers, if she can shoot 3 kilometers with her rifle, then that's the kind of firepower she's using. Then we're talking, this is a way considerably more impressive than the average, like, This isn't just like a hypersonic feat. We're talking like.
Well, that means that with Fajin, he's faster than a speeding bullet.
Oh, he was already touching Mach speed with 45%. So yes, BG, he's unequivocally faster, especially since the bullet would have been fired and then he caught up to it based on the paneling.
Trying to address the super chat. Hey, maybe the reason is more from Jorge Valdez. Hey, maybe the reason is more petty and he just wants his brother back. Talking off on. Yeah, I told you that nigga really just want his brother, bro. Like this nigga, seeing this nigga now, he really got no hate. He got no care for anybody. He only ever hated one person, and that was literally All Might. Nigga don't hate anybody else. Because when they were talking about that chapter, I never really realized it until they said that shit. I was like, damn, you're right. That nigga was a god, basically. Nobody could touch this nigga until All Might single-handedly did all that shit, basically, like alone. So I'm like, yeah, it's like the only nigga he actually does hate. Truly.
Who are you talking about? Overhaul?
All for one.
All for one.
He's literally the only person he hate. Hey, JJ, I already told you, those 3 niggas on my list, I'm coming for them when they ain't got no more excuses. When that panel is up on the screen, because they all like to get the little wiggle room and this, that, and the other. So you know those 3 niggas on my list, and yes, one of them is Roger. I don't care if he caught up or not. When that King panel of Shiggy is on screen, I'm going at that nigga. I don't give a fuck he swore or not. I'm not playing games. I'm telling you, I'm crushing. I know how those niggas operate. They want to wiggle out the room and shit like that. When it's time and it's done, said and done on panel on screen, that's when I come in for those niggas. Ain't no more wiggle room and no more, well, horror coaches can know. I know we've been through this game so many times. I know who I'm crushing when the panel is on screen. No arguing.
Oh yeah, I wasn't here when y'all probably talked about this, but so what's everybody's thoughts about Fajin now after it's been explained?
Oh, I already liked it beforehand because I was like, it's not going to be a broken quirk. It's basically him having Kaioken. It's fine.
No. That's the reason I've seen some people like have some dissenting opinions about it, considering that it's essentially a big booster to one for all, but it doesn't really have that much of a drawback. So, do y'all actually might have an issue with that?
I mean, I just appreciate the third quirk because of the heavy amount of physics in it. You know, I really enjoy that aspect. A part of me wanted to calculate how fast Deku had to be to reach the bullet.
He would have had to have been, based on like the image, probably at least 3 to 4 times faster than the bullet.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, this is a hypersonic.
He's starting off at because to me, the perspective we have, he's starting off at a lower position than Nagant. So he's facing this at an angle, at a much larger angle compared to her. So he has to be faster to
It's
reach
also
the same area slightly quicker, enough to push Overhaul out of the way.
well, he's also like essentially he's not running, he's throwing himself with that momentum. So right?
Kind of.
Yeah, he has the added because he has the centrifugal force from twisting around the building due to Black Whip. He has added velocity because of that.
So to be fair, that probably isn't even as fast as that he actually is, considering that it's him throwing himself rather than him actually.
He was using centrifugal force and physics too.
Well, that would allow him to overclock. Yeah. So like that's the other thing is that this is probably above. Like this is like the peak form that of his speedy we're gonna get is like him spinning around and shit. So what it really does is that like the more that I like see stuff like this, the more I don't like. We don't necessarily need Deku to become like hit actual 100%. We'll just know that like when he does hit that point, he's gonna be like above like where All Might was. But it actually does help justify the potential of other characters still being relevant.
Like I said, my case is always this. I don't care how strong Deku is. Shigaraki just as stronger. And Deku can't balance fighting Shigaraki and going around doing everything else. There's a reason the entire army exists so that everybody else is validated. So no matter how strong he gets, like we already knew he was going to be the strongest in the verse, basically. Doesn't really matter because Shigaraki is literally right there, matching his power or exceeding it just a little bit. So it's not like he can, all right, I'm going to fight everybody's battles. And then, Shigaraki will be in that nigga face, taking all his attention. and you got the focus on Shigaraki. Meanwhile, other people have plenty of other things to do with stronger opponents, like with strong ass opponents too.
I think what makes Fajin more acceptable is, at least for me, perhaps, that I don't. I think this kind of confirms we're not gonna get like 100% is like a base, is like his final like full cowling percentage,
How do you figure?
because the quirk singularity kind of makes it to where like the amount of um like the quirk's power compared to like the body's adaptation of it, you kind of can't. It's kind of like a toy situation where you can't really max out without major damage. So I think Fajin acting as that booster to where he can reach similar levels um is good, especially if his like end game percentage is like 75, 80, maybe 85%.
Like, because the other thing is that the drawback to this is also in the fact that to use it properly, he can't use all his other quirks. So even if he's at physical full power with Fajin, he's not at full power because he turned off float for this, he turned off danger sense for this. Like, he turned off multiple quirks to be able to do this so that he can not screw up that bad.
So if he gets, like, for example, like if he turned off danger sense, if he gets timed with like a major attack and it hits him, you know, and if he misses, you know, he takes major damage on top of not even getting an attack in. So this might leave him, so his Fajin combos might leave him more vulnerable to like multiple villains, if anything.
Hello, what are we talking about?
Fajin, the drawbacks, the implications of the quirk.
I mean, the thing is, this whole thing that he has to turn off danger sense and smoke screen at this point, it seems like a very temporary thing. Like, I'm 100% certain that within the next few, I don't know, not necessarily the next few chapters, but within the next few arcs, however many there still are, he will learn this. So it's not like at endgame he won't be able to use them all at once. So this is, it's not so much a drawback for me. It sounds more like a thing he's still not used to, this double processing kind of thing, but he will learn it.
Well, that's the point, is that like no matter what happens, Deku, as he trains with his quirk more, the consequences for using his power is going to be less and less. So that's why the current drawback is, like, narratively, he won't be using as many quirks when he's using Fajin.
Yeah,
at least for a while.
What I mean is, I don't really like this whole drawback conversation anymore, because
we don't either.
Course, the whole thing is he's learning a new quirk. He can't do it perfectly. I mean, that's clear. It's something you don't really need to explain much, and it's not really a drawback that if you learn a new quirk, you're not gonna be perfect at it, and you're probably not gonna do everything perfect at once. He learned at this point, within a very short succession, 4 quirks, quite a few quirks, which of course he can't use them all at once, but it's not really a drawback. This is just he's learning these quirks and he's not great at them yet, but he will be.
I mean the criticism I've heard is not about that being considered a drawback. It's about the fact that Fajin is essentially great return with little risk.
See, even that, I don't know if I can agree with, because at the end of the day, the way he threw himself is likely to imply that he doesn't have like super control over it. Like he did, so it could easily.
No.
Yeah, but that's again a control thing. I mean, that's again a thing that he's going to learn.
Oh no, it's mostly about the fact that like it's essentially like the concept of it, not necessarily the execution. It's more about the concept of Fajin is he can essentially with enough built-in kinetic energy, he'll be able to fucking like replicate 100% smash without actually needing to be at 100%.
I mean, that's
I like that. So basically Tarnish. I was talking to Tarnish, and he gave the most logical way. He definitely gave the most logical point from I see when he was talking about. He looked at it from a Hori point of view. Deku's actually going to need this going forward because he's going to, during a rematch, when he does lose again, he actually it doesn't for it not to be that bad of a ass whooping where he don't immediately die. He will need Fox 100% to at least somewhat keep up, because if you forgot, Shigaraki wasn't tanking them entirely, those 100% smashes, but he definitely wasn't doing the fuck out of those motherfuckers, because he kept going for quite a while. Like, and his regeneration was not up to par what it was before. So he was taking 100% smashes, flybys back to back to back to back, still enduring, still conscious, and what have you, until Endeavor came with his promise burner, burn the nigga entire skin off. So like, if 100% smashes wasn't doing shit back to back to back like that, for Shigaraki to keep moving at 75%, a fully rested, awakened Shigaraki out the paint where he's supposed to be is definitely going to be fucking way worse than before. So Deku actually needs this boost for that fight coming up, and in the next fight, and the fight at the end of the series.
I mean, sure. The reason why he needs all these quirks is because he has to fight off at one point again.
Shigaraki,
and he will Shigaraki, whoever, and it will be however that fight goes. He has to get all kinds of power-ups until then. I think at this point I'm just a little bit getting tired of this whole conversation that is, he's getting a new power-up. Now let's look at ways to argue why this power-up isn't as much of a power-up as we think it is at first glance. Because I do think that if you look at this, he's getting quite a few decent power-ups that we don't need to talk down by saying, well, there's a drawback here. Well, he's not perfect now. Well, he needs all this because he has at one point to fight Shigaraki. We know he has at one point to fight Shigaraki. We know that's the reason why he's gonna get powerful. But I also am at the point where I just maybe you remember I was never that big of a fan of this whole 6 quirk things that he's still gonna learn thing, but I've accepted it by now, and I mean, at this point, I'm just accepting that he's the protagonist of this show. Of course, he's gonna get powerful. But why are we trying to argue why there's a drawback here and there's a weakness here and he doesn't control it yet? He will know how to control it. The drawbacks, he will find a way around them. He's gonna get overpowered. Of course, he's the protagonist. And I've just come to accept that at this point.
It's also just the problem for most people that like leads to these discussions isn't even that like, oh no, he's getting power. It's more like, why do you have a problem with him getting stronger? Especially since it's not as if right here, right now, he is now the peak version that you're worried about. So relax. That's what it really comes down to. Is like, stop complaining about this thing that like throughout the entire story, like Deku got Black Whip, and did he become immediately OP? No. Like every time we've gotten these quirks, it's been like, all right, cool. He'll be even stronger than we thought by the end. But right now it doesn't matter because X, Y, and Z.
I mean, it's funny in that regard too, because it's like, how does shit that some of the things don't even matter. Somebody was telling me about like how Smokescreen wouldn't even matter because Shigaraki probably got infrared from all one. So I was like, damn, you're right. I mean, some of the shits don't even really help like that, to be honest.
The thing is, for me, it's the reason I find it a little bit annoying is because at the same time, while I'm giving all these power-ups, Deku, because of who he is and because of how he narrates the story, and also because of how we're looking at the other characters in class, specifically Bakugo, most specifically, we are still supposed to believe that he is behind on some of them, which of course he is behind in the sense that he hasn't had this quirk for long and he hasn't trained for so long. But for like a very long time, we've been told like he has so many steps to make up. At this point, I'm kind of, he's not doing it, thankfully, anymore, because if he would ever say this again, I would just get so annoyed at him if he ever tried to say this again. At this point, for me, it gets hard to believe that Bakugo is keeping up at all, which the manga still shows us that he is by, for example, in the war arc, he still seemed to be able to keep up, but at this point, it becomes a little bit difficult to believe.
Up with like 30%.
At 35, 45, when Deku was just bearing at 45, just barely at the edge, then Bakugo was barely keeping up. But Bakugo, and I was wondering why Bakugo wasn't using his new pinpoint things that he had learned in EA. I was wondering, I was like, all right, y'all gotta move kind of fast, and they never taught y'all how to do this way back when. So like,
yeah, and then
in
near death, and then like when he was like super injured in the war arc, he was able to like kind of summon up even further condensed explosions to where he got way faster for that short period of time, and then he just kind of just dropped.
Well, the whole reason why you remember Squid, he like flips so that his back increases his drag,
Yeah.
so that he doesn't keep just like shooting like a missile in that direction. But yeah.
I'll read
Uh,
Cheese Body's super chat.
Oh, yeah, I was about to do this one. Yeah, Jorge Valdez. Now that Lady N is out for now, what's happened to Chisaki? Is Deku going on a side quest to help him? I would love it. Need to save the boss.
That would be put on the back burner. They got much bigger things to worry about in terms of the country rather than Chizaki right now.
But
Like
now it's like
Cheese
now I'm
Peabody.
interested in the direction of how the objective of the fight was stop Nagant, right? And get information from AFO. But this guy, he's a demon, right? So he's like, aha, I know it's possible she has to change her heart because, she realizes Deku's pretty cool, right? So let me just like sprinkle in this little failure clause to our contract and then blow you up just in case. And then just like pop and then kill.
listen, listen, man. I told y'all about going on and saying this can't happen, this gotta happen, this gotta happen. She this, that, and the other. Nobody. I ain't hear a single person say all for one go blow that bitch up as soon as she changed her mind. Not I ain't hear a single person say that. That's why I told y'all about monkey wrenches in the plan. People arguing, making bets on Nagant gonna win this, that, and other. All I said, she not gonna get fucking outclassed immediately as soon as Deku get up there. What she do? Deku got up there, she blew him off in 2 panels. I was like, she's not incompetent in that regard, because I told y'all snipers even had capabilities hand to hand. It was like, well, it's different when she ain't never been up close. It's different. I'm like, nah, our point was proven. After that, I let Horikoshi do what he do. I'm not butt hurt or nothing. I mean, I'm hurting my girl out the paint right now, but we'll see what's her future lies.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I said, that munchie
we
and the
always
monkey
got to
wrench.
keep in mind. Not to mention, we also got to keep in mind, like the medical tech in this universe is way more advanced than ours. Like they have a whole hospital that worked with the government to where they were able to study the Nomu like so intensely they mimic their death state. Who can't say that can't be extrapolated as like a plot element to essentially preserve a body under immense duress?
They'll have to do that in in-depth detail for it, because you know how niggas was already kind of iffy
I
about
had
the
to tell
genus thing
people I
anyway.
had to tell what pseudo meant. Okay, I don't believe people's intelligence anymore.
Like,
Like
people was upset about that whole genus thing, that it wasn't explained better. Half of people was, half people just let it ride because it makes sense. But
like
See,
like people
okay.
like on the spoiler, like on the like on like the Reddit, they were like, oh wait, so he can do 100% now? It's like, no, it's pseudo. Like this, the translation had the word pseudo. That means it's false. It's an imitation. It's not the real thing. It's counterfeit. Like,
And
and now Caleb uses a more complicated word. It's like, okay, just let me more.
okay, to me, like what's funny about that though is that it does kind of capture one of the big issues with My Hero, and that Horikoshi does thing that's based on smart. Person who doesn't have that same smart is now angry. And it's because he's like, yeah, you guys know how like the science on this stuff works, right? Or you know how this works, right? And it's like, well, actually, not everybody knows how these things work. So you might want to explain this a little more.
Yeah, he overestimates a lot of people's intelligence or research, and then when it's not spoon fed, in some cases I understand it, and when other things it's just like, well, why didn't he do like a better explanation than this? It's like, well, he kind of overestimated your knowledge. I mean, you stupid or anything. It's just that he kind of overestimated your knowledge of some things, which is okay at fault. I mean, it's like he can cover for every base for everybody. But let me get you Cheese Body, because I definitely wanted to read what you said. But Cheese Body, my nigga. Deku ain't gonna supply an entire army with energy. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? You let niggas tell it. That's the only influence that exists for MHA. And JJ. Yeah, JJ said the thing about the infrared.
So here's my thing about that, right? Is that One for All is a quirk to pass on quirks that stockpiles energy, but also has like all these other mechanics within it, where even if Deku did that, if it was a byproduct of him actually training and learning how to literally actually combine his quirks, then it would make sense.
hold on. Barney just noticed a detail where Nagant has like a hole in her hand that she like feeds the bullets into for her gun, for the big rifle, like where it's all puffed up.
Pedro, you said that. Oh, we got a
Veronica.
super chat. Yeah, super chat. Hold on.
I want to mention that the light in Deku's eyes returned. Hori drew his light shines in his attempt to save Nagant, only for her to blow up via AFO. Oof.
It was funny because people were talking about people were like, yo, I really want Deku to have a civilian casualty on his hands, while like somebody he can't save. And it's funny enough that he did all this shit and he still failed in the end to that extent. I mean,
wonder,
maybe she lives, yes, but he still intentionally just kind of failed, even though.
Do you think the injury from the bullet grazing his stomach is gonna, like, despite being a pretty big bullet, do you think it's gonna play a factor in round 2, Deku versus Shigaraki? You think he's gonna walk into that fight injured?
I mean, even if he, I'll just keep, because you already know how I feel that it's a wash either way. It's an ass whooping either way. But yeah, this stuff is gonna affect him too, because they would have to run back to General Hospital, get all their wounds basically healed up from that. He had to get like sleep for a bunch of long time, and then like.
Real quick, I used to type comments about Spider-Man says people need to STFU about Nagant dying, because I remember y'all looking hella clownish when Gran Torino didn't die. Learn to wait a few chapters for once. See, one of the things about this is that people don't jerk off to Gran Torino.
I mean, maybe if you like some old man lover, maybe.
They do to Lady Nagant, so Lady Nagant dying, if she dies, is bad writing because they lost fat material.
Well, I mean, I know somebody who falls into that category.
Mm-hmm.
You know who he is, East.
Oh man,
is it the switch up artist?
Yes, it is.
This man is Muslim one day, he's Christian the other. This man switches up every day, blood. That shit funny as fuck, boy. Funny enough, that nigga is from the UK too, boy. So, oh my God. Yeah, Pedro Leo, you said no matter how much Deku works for his power and to master one for all, and the quirks he will never be Shigaraki and have the fandom forgive his OP power. Oh, now rereading that a couple times, now I see what you mean. Because somebody's making a good point how when Shigaraki uses cheat codes there, he gets his level ups, nobody bats an eye. Or when the villains get their level ups and power and stuff like that, nobody bats an eye. But when it comes down to the MC, oh hell no. That nigga broken. His star ruined. Can't nobody else keep up. Don't worry, I'm gonna get to it later. Like I said, listen, man. I told you. All I gotta say is Deku. I was saying before, Deku still not watching the entirety of Class 1A because we still gotta see what they can do. This shit though, and me turn my head a little bit, like, oh, okay, nigga, OD, but I'm not going to just slide by that the other kids are in the field too, putting that work in. It's not we're gonna kind of like, did the 3 months teach y'all nothing, or the entire series teach y'all nothing that these niggas are grinding too? Like, I understand him being ahead of everybody 1v1, but like just to him watch the entire class, especially with those big 3 to big 4 kids, he just like, all right, I'm watching all y'all in one go. That's a little bit harder for that, bro. Like he get it. Remember how he did the Fox 100? He did centrifugal force apply with Fajin, so that's what boosted him up completely to 100% Fox. Okay, and in order for the speed, but the attack for the Manchester Smash was a little bit different. But like, I understand. It's okay. Yeah, you're getting set up once again, and this shit with Nagant, once again, wake up your eyes. All that whole non-killing. Nobody dying, this, that, and the other. I trying to warn y'all motherfuckers, but y'all won't listen. Now look at y'all, looking stupid. I'm in pain, but I'm not as fooled as much as y'all. I mean, she may not be dead, of course, but I'm just saying, wake up your eyes. Ain't not that many people as safe as you think. Because y'all the ones that put the limitations. Nobody, the whole course said, I can't do this, I can't do that. Y'all said that. but y'all don't have the pen.
The other thing that's crazy though that I really like about this is that like Deku slingshots back, breaks her arm, and it's like, all right, cool, we done. Like the right amount of damage, not not him like taking her in the stomach. Like it's a believable thing. Is that he chose to like break her arm, which is her main like combat tool. Which in a lot of anime, it's like, well, you broke my arm, but or like she'd be like, well, don't have as much practice, but I can make my left arm a gun too, just to drag it out. But like, nah, it's like, cool, this is how you're supposed to do it.
Like one arm, and if that arm gets broken, it's like this is why like if you got only like a one appendage power, you need like a secondary weapon.
Yeah. But then, like, if you think about it, it's kind of like how it was like, well, you don't want to be too reliant on support items. So it's like she spent all her time like training up that arm, and then it's like, oh damn. Hey, peace and dot.
All right, or Squid, go ahead and start repenting for your sins.
All right. All right.
So today here we have somebody once again who overreacted during the leaks time and then flipped out of control and then calmed down once they read a chapter and appreciated more. We go through this shit every week. I have no sympathy and I don't want to hear y'all zero tolerance for y'all fucking excuses when y'all read leaks and be like, well, we can have a discussion about leaks because to be fair, when the leak said, no, nigga, I don't want to hear that fucking shit because we go through it every week. You know what's going to happen and you switch up on the leaks and you read the chapter, the scans is not as bad. Then you read the officials and it's much better than before. I'm not trying to hear y'all excuses about that shit whatsoever.
All right. My good brothers and sisters of the church. Amen. In a time of great weakness, I acquiesced to the demons, to the heathens, who would falsely judge a chapter without context, only under the words of a historically not very dependable translator in terms of interpreting the series. And for that, I should have remained strong in my fortitude, and I apologize. Please, I seek repentance and redemption.
I don't know, man. I'm still grounded. Wait, look.
To be fair, my leg was sore, so it's kind of hard to maintain composure when you just down bad.
I'm not trying to hear it.
Though I do think though, like
leaks
cause so much harm.
Listen, bro. I seen two people. Somebody was like, "Yo, this might be Horry's first miss." Then homeboy read the chapter like, "Oh, never mind. I just read the scans. I read the sports. That was my fault." There you go, nigga. And you already know Jose. Don't even take that nigga serious because that nigga, he just a comedic act with that shit. That shit be funny as hell.
It's just like every week people throw tantrums over problems they created by reading some incomplete shit.
Yeah, and I asked somebody, they said, "Oh, Nagant just like flat out, they just said Nagant died, and the rumor started spreading." And that's what somebody was like, because that's what a couple people were said about in the leaks. And Squid, I don't know. And then when I read the chapter and we discussing this shit and like with the scam boys, and I'm like, all right, so the shit y'all was upset about, or the way that we should be having a conversation about, that should be controversial, is not the shit we're actually having a conversation about. If you wanted to be upset about, and this is, I'm giving y'all this one because I fight any of y'all niggas tooth and nail to defend my goat, but I'll give y'all this one. Is you wanted to be upset about like, yo, where were Hawks wings before this? Just like the same day and before like that. Like I would have given you like, yeah, that is weird horror question, and at least show some semblance of them prior to this, or unless it was not the same day. I believe it was the same day and the same time, but it was like the Hawks and shit and them was a little bit earlier than when the Deku and stuff started happening. But like, if y'all want to talk about that, or that'd have been like, all right, that's reasonable, controversial to be like that. I was over talking about some stupid ass shit because you read some leaks. Ridiculous. I ain't trying to hear none of that bullshit.
Really said that there was like a whole real jetpack.
Whose fault is that? Even in the scans, y'all niggas was bugging, talking about. I can't believe Deku got all these like. Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? Are you blind or some shit?
No. I knew that. I knew it was a metaphor.
You said what, BG?
What I missed?
We talking. I had Squid explain his repenting and then get on these niggas about the leaks and over fucking reacting once again.
Yeah.
But like, look, it's just not healthy. Stop doing it to yourself.
I don't think there's anything wrong with reading leaks. That's the thing is, y'all need to understand something. If you're going to read leaks, understand that there's not leaks. They're not the actual chapter.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that one speech in BoJack Horseman where it's like, stop apologizing, just be better. You keep repeating the same mistake.
Yeah, like you don't have to upset yourself every week. Just relax, wait, get complete thoughts, and then you don't have to have these panic attacks or whatever. It doesn't have to be this way. Also, One Piece was great this week.
Yeah. I didn't read it.
Look who here.
I didn't get read yet. JJK did though.
What up?
Oh,
I bet I'm so late.
Hey, y'all better start liking the stream for my pounds to get on your ass. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
bro.
bro.
What's
happening? I'm just not here. We just have the help of the people that likes our video. People, please like the video. Just show your love. If you hate us, it's not a problem. But yeah, just like the video,
Hey, all right, Ponzu, since you just got here, what did you think of today's chapter?
Good, really. We get. I knew that we will have like something like the full 100%, because Fajin was like an amp, a kind of amp, and it is like a specific amp. So it was really nice to see that Horikoshi keeps playing on the fact that these quirks are not good enough for themselves. You know what I mean? So for the people who are talking shit, man, that quirk is shit. You have to move like
you gotta move like a whole city block worth of running.
Just kind of forced to get.
I don't think that's the case.
So
I don't think that's the case. I think it's more so about what is it? If you want to get to that level that he was at, yeah, you'd have to do that. But in general, I don't think you'd have to be like that crazy.
Really, what this does is like
just
make it where you could train. Like, let's say you spend a week training just standard hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah,
it's very much like One for All, like in the sense that like you could. So especially if you make it a point to use a lot of twisting actions, so it does work very well with shoot style because of the amount of centrifugal force you have to pull off and roundhouse kicks and a lot of these things. So it's very much like partially dependent. Like if you're a boxer, Fajin actually isn't that great of a fighting style for you because you're not doing like a lot of full rotations and as big ones as you would be if you're using like Taekwondo or any of these other ones. But like you still like by using all these pivots, so you're training and then you release it in actual combat, and then so it's like
I could see a pivot heavy, like a heavy pivot focused boxer benefiting really well from this ability.
Yes, yeah, for sure. That's the thing about that is that quirk is literally made for somebody who's expert in martial arts. Oh, we can Nadir. We came through.
No, Nadir come through. I've been part of the Reddit community for a good while. Those leak spoiler threads are aggravating to be a part of. Pause. That whole subreddit is aggravating to be a part of. Yeah, I used like MHA Reddit like for a day, and then I was like, y'all way too aggressive and angry about literally everything. I don't want to talk to you.
Like you could just say like one, like I remember like someone just said like a random like nice comment and they got downvoted, and then the person said the exact same thing and then got upvoted. Like what? Why are y'all mad about literally nothing? It ain't even keeping it straight.
Yeah, like
But in general, this chapter just shows that Alpha One has plans. Till right now,
All for One's a slimy lawyer. That's what I think.
man. A man just thought to himself,
Slime.
"I can't trust her. I can't trust that girl, so I will put a bomb on her." With which quirk, I don't know, but it was hilarious to see her explode.
I added a failure clause to your contract.
so. Here's my thing with that though,
Mhm.
is that if you think back to what we talked about, especially I think it was like last week. I know BG and like Sayas, I don't think you were here for that part, but we were talking about how based on her dialogue, she was like, "Oh, you believe in, these ideals. Oh, you're chasing this like bullshit narrative." To a certain degree, she saw AFO as like a bullshitter, and she was like completely like illusioned with Hero Society and all that other stuff. So it's like she didn't have a problem with helping people. The thing that made her disillusioned was the Hero Commission itself. She didn't have a problem with actual heroes. So all it took, like literally, it's like that. She was basically a frame job. Not necessarily a frame job because she did kill that dude, but it was technically self-defense. So it's like
Like, it was heavily implied that they were gonna smoke her.
So it's like, okay, she wasn't willing to like die because she didn't want to keep killing people. That doesn't make her a bad person, if anything. So like when people were like, baby girl is innocent, they were like kind of right, but also not, because she did catch a lot of bodies throughout her career. But it's like what
But it's like only one actually got prosecuted.
Right.
But that's like my question. Like, and this is what I think kind of raises the question about like how many corrupt heroes were there. If they could just spin it as just like this one bad apple, right? Like, oh, Nagant was just this crazy lady, right? Why not just do the same for like the other corrupt heroes? Oh, that's the bad apple. Like, how rooted was this? Is my question. Why couldn't they do the same thing that they did to Nagant for everyone else? And then just claim they are the real heroes.
And I think part of the problem is that at least with that angle, is that they don't want to, depending on how many heroes they caught doing that, it might be like I can't safely, we can't actually like push this because it's happening enough. Because like when you look at how Shady or like Yoroi Midsha and how he was like
Midsha or Musha?
I mean, doesn't matter. If you remember that, but he was like shown in that vigilante panel, and he had that like the snaky smile. Oh, hold on. Moon Dude 345 come through. It's interesting to see how uncharitable people are with MHA. Like, I'm not like you guys who figure out quirks from a single panel, but I follow the story itself well enough and don't see many things to critique in the writing.
Oh, I mean that's good, because I already saw some people on Twitter talking about it's crazy how this story is like Hori walking on a big tightrope, and if he makes one mistake, it could just ruin the whole story. I'm like, only people who keep trying to find every little flaw in the story would think this way.
And that's the damn fandom. Damn near half the fandom. Honestly, I promise you, they be wanting niggas to. They be wanting him to fail. Like I've never seen somebody try to rationalize something that hasn't even happened yet. Like I literally don't even get it, honestly.
Yeah, I can understand. The thing is, I
think one quote that like
hold up. Says
what I've noticed, for example, with the quirk discussion now, is something which I think Horikoshi is trying to prevent a problem that will be a problem later on, and it is a problem much later on in a lot of other shonen. Because in a lot of other shonen, you have this phase where at some point a character just becomes overpowered, and it comes more or less out of nowhere, because up until then you had this underdog story, and then suddenly, bam, overpowered. And this happens in quite a few longer shonen. And I think what Horikoshi is trying to do is try to avoid this problem by just bringing it early on, and he early on decides to show that this character will be overpowered in the end, so don't be surprised when it happens. But everybody hates it. Everybody's like, no, we don't want to see it. That is
I don't understand that actually about that. I don't understand that at all, because it's like, Well, it's an underdog story. He's not supposed to be overpowered. Do y'all not know what an underdog story is? Am I supposed to just be weak the entire story? Am I supposed to just never succeed?
No,
What
of course,
fuck?
no. What I meant was that I think that
I'm not talking about
Horikoshi
you.
is looking at a lot of other shonen stories, and he's trying to avoid mistakes that they made later on in the final arc that kind of soured the rest of the story. Which means that he brings in a lot of stuff that you don't really like, and you don't like in any shonen. But other shonens just make it in like the last 10 chapters, and then assume that you're gonna enjoy the first 100, and then the last 5. Well, okay, they're not gonna be a great ending. And he's trying to go to a great ending, so he's giving you all these things that you don't like that much early on, and everybody whines about it. But of course, you get that in every story.
My thing is, like,
I understand what you're saying. I'm not talking about what you said. I'm also talking about people's reaction to it. I don't understand it because it doesn't make sense to me.
Because to a certain degree, what Sayas are saying is like, you would think people would be like, wow, we're gonna like start with these powers before they're broken, so that by the time he's like really OP, it kind of doesn't matter because he's earned it and we've seen it. Like,
yeah, the progression makes sense. It's not so much that it's just like a lot of other shonens, they just assume that you're stupid and you're gonna believe that the character stays stupid, and until suddenly the author decides or the mangaka decides that they really need to be a lot stronger now, so let's just make a flashback, and then they are that strong because suddenly they need that power up. And in this story, it's more so we get a lot of power ups in between, and the progression makes sense, and we know where it's headed. But we don't like where it's headed. But it's headed at the same spot where every other shonen is headed, which is a very powerful MC.
Oh, you got it. I'm gonna let you finish up.
So in a way, it's like Horikoshi's honest with us from the start. He's not telling us a story about this poor kid that's never gonna get any luck and that's never gonna get any powers gifted to him. Of course, the whole story is about a power that was ultimately gifted to him. He's honest to us in this sense. And other mangaka are not that honest to us. They're acting as if there's nothing gifted, there's nothing unearned. It's all struggle. But then suddenly it's just one chapter flashback, power up, everything's solved. So it's kind of dishonest, and people don't like dishonesty.
So I'm about to go with Tarn. I'm about to do 2 things from the chat, and then Squid, you go because you were going to try to say yes. Tarna said, I don't think Hori cares about how other series ended. Why can't he just do the same thing? I tell you, bro, they just don't. They like to cherry pick, like what Say's saying, like, all right, well, he like, okay, well, it's fair when another series does it, or they don't mind it as much. But then when Horikoshi's setting you up before you just get punched in the face with a right hook and you didn't see coming, then it's like, all right, well, listen, like, bro, you're not really worried about that. Like, you're placing a PTSD from the other series where everybody OP, and then you just project on a Deku. There's no problem with Deku being OP. We knew that was the case for a long time. That, like I keep saying, that doesn't outclass or make anybody else useless. Because once again, from the author's mouth, his own goddamn self, he said everybody comes together and makes a move towards the finale to end the last battle too. And we keep seeing this time and time again. Like I keep saying, who's on the other side of the coin that he has to face? The nigga that's more powerful than him or equal to him. So it don't matter if Deku this strong right now or he's doing this. It's like, all right, what about the entire narrative? Because Deku is just now helping shape the narrative and the plot. There were other things moving around plot that had nothing to do with Deku. Hawks being infiltrating LV didn't have a damn thing to do with Deku whatsoever. That entire plot and that entire arc and moving forward in the story was all thanks to Hawks and LOV and Twice, all them moving together their own parts while Deku was sitting on the side training up so he could get to this narrative in this point. That's how you plan out and you do things you're doing. And you got a point there. Who said that? Cameron? Yeah, he said MHA haters, Deku was OPMC. Looks at Saitama, Luffy, Goku, Naruto, Meliodas, Ichigo, Asta, Natsu, and Gon. I'll let Gon slide because he has a lot of shit to go through. And he doesn't always even like, he has a lot of shit to go through. And they don't always just win straight up battles. That's a lot more technicality. But them other niggas, I won't speak on Natsu, but them other niggas, oh yeah, y'all get the same energy with them. Like I keep saying,
they all
like to pick and choose.
Yeah. The thing is, when I said that he's looking at other stories, I don't mean that he's looking at other stories, how they end and then copying them. What I meant is that he's looking at other stories and he sees the mistakes they made and he's learning from that. For example, if you take Naruto, for example, even people like Naruto don't like the whole, ultimately he's just the reincarnation, chosen one thing. And this appears like in the last arc and it seems dishonest because it kind of puts a different shift to a different a different perspective to the story that you thought you were reading, which was this underdog story, and now it's suddenly a chosen one story. And so here it's like you have a story that is a bit of an underdog story, but we're also quite early on told this character is chosen. So ultimately in the last arc, we won't get hit over the head with the surprise, oh, this is a chosen one story. No, it's still an underdog story, and we knew he's also a chosen one.
Yeah, and if the Horikoshi wanted to rush it, and this nothing, Horikoshi wanted to rush the story and the plot. Remember, out his mouth, he said, "I was aiming for 30 volumes." The war basically ended at volume 30, like basically like with Dabi and like 290, like 295. That's basically like where the volume 30 had ended. 295, 296. That had been the end of the series. If he wanted to just rush it, he would have either did one or two things just to rush it and get over with. Then he would have had it. Please, the Endeavor Agency, Deku would have been the MC of that. He would have got more of the power ups during there, and then just span them all. And at the cost of everything, at the end of the war arc, it'd be like, all right, Shigaraki. It was like, all right, Deku, your body's not broken because you leveled up so much. So now you get to keep your quirk, and Shigaraki and them all went to jail, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Or he would have just had Deku awaken half the fucking quirks and use them at 100% at the cost of everything, and send Shigaraki them to the jail when killing wasn't on the table or wasn't really that much of a thought in his mind. And then everybody would just flop right there. Togo went to jail, Compressive in the hospital, Dabi would have just got arrested. Like everything would just end right there if he actually wanted to rush the thing. So people talking about rushing the quirks too fast, this and the other, like, no, if he really wanted to like really spam them, because we already know way back when Deku said, yeah, it's a key and lock thing. I unlock each thing to use the quirk. He already showed you how to do that. And then Banjo was telling this thing in the Vestas world, was like, hey, let's go ahead and try your visualization thing so you can start getting prepped up for these other quirks. Since you already have access to them, you just didn't know what the second and third one was. And they're not complicated. Shooting, you want to run the whole chapter, but shooting smoke out his body. Danger sense is passive. He was training for float. And Fajin got the explanation just now that all you have to do is bounce up and down or wind your arm up, and then you shoot it too. So like, I'm confused on how you think it's like, because it's not that big of a deal. It's more big. It's less complicated than you make this thing actually to be.
Yeah. I honestly think like the biggest problem here isn't like the idea that a protagonist is gonna be OP. I think the biggest thing is a fear that the side characters are going to just not be an element in those stories. Yeah, they're going to be irrelevant.
I think that's also foolish.
Yeah, but I think that's where a lot of the fear of being OP comes from.
Yeah.
See, I feel like that's a stupid criticism though, because think about it. Not even criticism. I mean fear, a stupid fear, because in the fact of like how this series works, yes, they won't be fighting all for one together, or they won't be fighting Shigaraki together. Who the fuck cares? They weren't fighting Shigaraki this time either. But they were still useful. That's like other series. The characters become irrelevant far earlier than the final arc.
I agree. I think what's kind of maybe different in MHA is that, unlike with a lot of other stories in MHA, the main character is not the fan favorite in many, like in most popular votes, popularity votes of characters, the main character ranks first most of the time. Unless sometimes the character that doesn't rank first is a character that is kind of not necessarily the rival. Normally the rival of the main character doesn't rank first popularity, and here's like the case that Bakugo is more popular than Deku. Shoto is on par with Deku in popularity.
I think in the English polls, I think
maybe hard to understand that.
It's not the English polls. There's somebody that actually combined all the polls together. Yeah, no, Deku's third. He's definitely third, and there's not even close.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think people
like
just
Bakugo,
like
Shoto,
the
right?
other characters more, which is why they.
Okay.
And for example, Sasuke was never more liked than Naruto. Really, yeah, there were of course times when he was more liked, but ultimately Naruto mostly pulled ahead. Luffy mostly is number one, apart from. Are there any upsets? But normally Luffy is number one character. Deku is not the most popular character in MHA, which is probably the reason why a lot of fans don't want to believe that he's the other character is going to be irrelevant later on.
Well, so that is kind of true that people base. So one of the things that I think is funny about like both Bakugo and Shoto is that they are both far more archetypical. Like Bakugo is
Yeah, definitely.
your brash loudmouth, like as a main character. It's basically like what if Naruto with the MC. So what it comes down to is Bakugo and Shoto are the very, very familiar territory for people. They are sorry.
Bless you.
Grazie. Wait, was that Silvers?
He said he was at work.
Okay.
He had to work.
Your voice just sounded weird there. I was like, huh?
No, I was about to say, no, he said he couldn't swing through. He actually had work to do today.
But yeah, like with Deku, but I also don't think Horikoshi was like, I want to make my main character the best one, because like I think there's certain things that manga could do that there are moments in stories where you'll feel like, no, this other character probably should have been the one to do that, but the main character had to do it because main character. So my popular one with One Piece in that discussion is always the Dressrosa fight with Dofi and how that ends. Where I think that should have gone to a different character, because it felt like Luffy doing it was just main character. There's.
Do you think it was Law?
Yeah, I think it should have been Law. Like the story built that up so much
He
better.
had the gamma knife. He split that man's entrails open. Like, how did he keep fighting? Like, oh wait, excuse me. You see, I just simply strung my organs together. Shouldn't that be cutting it?
I was like, that's not how organs work at all. You can't just, and then, but it's like whatever. So like you got certain moments like that.
I mean, milk heals bones in these series like instantly, so I'm cool with it.
So. But like, yeah, so you get the idea though. It's like sometimes a lot of series do make sure like the main character, like for example, like Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail is like a really good example of this. Urza throughout the entire series is stated to be above Natsu.
Okay.
Like she's stated to be an S tier maid. She's stated to be this. Like
no different.
Like she's always stated to be above Natsu.
Mm-hmm.
She never beats the final boss in any arcs, though. It's usually Natsu eating like some kind of thing or getting some kind of temporary buff so that Natsu, as the main character, gets to surpass her, which is really weird because arguably Lucy's the real main character of Fairy Tail because it's supposed to be her journey to meet the Fairy Tail Guild and all this other stuff. So it's like at that point, it's like not even like, so that, depending on how you want to look at that one.
I mean, Fairy Tail's confusing in that regard.
So yeah, especially when you think about the fact that we start back with Lucy post time skip and then Natsu shows up. So I don't know. But it's a weird thing where main character or a person who is like male lead that is carrying the show is supposed to be the one who wins all the time or gets like, but in like My Hero, at least this stay in your lane effect has been made where you spent 200, 250, 260, 270 chapters where Deku couldn't just like overshadow people. Like there's a lot of series where All Might and All for One fighting at Camino, All Might would have been like, I can barely survive. And then Deku would have been like, oh my God. And then he would have got like some kind of cheap shot on All for One. There's a lot of series where they'd have been like, we gotta go help Endeavor. And then they would have showed up in Q-Shoot or Pro Hero art. So
I think
that's my
really
favorite
have
thing.
to do. I think what we really have to do is like legitimately like let's consider like how well he's balanced the world considering all the elements that are in it. Okay? Like under the hands of a good writer, here's what we have. Let's take Hori out of this equation. Let's keep only the elements introduced in his story. We have a hospital that could seemingly introduce death states. We have Overhaul. We have Rewind. We have Recovery Girl.
We don't have Rewind.
We also have, in
Rewind
general, advanced technology on top of that. Under the hands of a lesser writer, the series could have been broken from... We have a whole symbol of peace for the first 100 chapters. Under the hands of a lesser writer, this series could have been just destroyed off jump. And even with all of those extreme elements in there, we still haven't reached that breaking point. 315 chapters into the series.
There's something I want to touch on, but we got to
real quick,
Can we think about that?
Andrew Lalavar says, just wonder how many people do you guys consider important enough to move this plot that should have died during the war? The only person that I felt like should have died, like in retrospect, was like Gran Torino, like should have died, and we don't actually know for sure if he's alive or not. So,
me and Tarns got that nigga dead, especially after looking at him giving up his cape too, just like that. He did his last bid because I keep saying, I noticed is Horikoshi keeps characters alive so he can wring everything possible he can out those niggas. Like, not killing certain characters. If you ever look at that, just look at what they brought to the table after the fact. Like what they really brought, like that he had, because if you think about it, if he would have just died, he was got, and then like Deku needed that cape. They wanted to give Deku that cape. Deku would have just had to snatch the cape off a dead body, and that would have been like a really weird thing to do. But he had also had to give him the advice on Delph can be a form of salvation too, and then him passing on the cape, that last little word is like, yeah, and don't you forget that.
Like I just want us to, I just really want us to think about like under the hands of a lesser writer. Look at all the stuff introduced in the series and tell me they wouldn't break it. All we need is just one redemption arc for Overhaul, and we would have the tension would be literally wiped away because everyone could be resurrected on top of having Rewind.
Hey, but
like look at this under the hands of a lesser writer.
Hey, Squid, you got some points too, and Aniki was talking about. I love to stay in lane for. That's why MHA is still one of my favorites. Even though Deku won this altercation with Nagant, he really would have died if she was serious from the get go. And during the fight, majority of fights, he was always on the back foot. But with him using Fox 100%, that boosted his speed up to his true capabilities, which you already knew he could kind of access. So it works out in a technical aspect. So it doesn't make her look weak at all or anything like that, or lessen her power level or skill.
Not to mention,
she wasn't aiming to actually kill the nigga off rip. And that gave Deku the time to do what he usually do, which is adapt and grow more. And then he had used Fajin and all his other quirks in order to get the upper hand that he got. And then shock Nagant and then do what he did.
Not to mention, it's like the actual ending of the fight came with Nagant's being persuaded by him, essentially like recognize that this is a really good person, and like she was no longer gonna try to keep hunting him down. It's like,
yeah, real quick though, Andrew Lalavar, but is GT important enough to move the plot? Because the motherfucker was on the phone more than he was in the screen moving the plot. I think that so that's like the thing with Gran Torino is that low key he was kind of like a plot device. No, I think East is just being a hood nigga.
Huh? What they said that?
Because he asked if you're calling it Fox instead of foe on purpose.
Oh no, you keep forgetting. I'm a fucking nigga from ATL, bro. Like once I left school, dog, you wasn't catch me in no motherfucking literature classes or nothing, homie. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, if you like, I could speak in a more professional manner in order to, get across my points and articulate myself better. But we on stream and I'm a nigga, so
you gotta use like that Chappelle voice for like the white dude.
Yeah, they want to use my white voice.
I must say this whole 100% is truly.
It's a mighty fun way that Horikoshi honestly just exercises his skill and he explores multiple facets of MHA, which I'm completely astonished by time and time again. It's truly extraordinary. No, I'm a nigga. I'm gonna need y'all to get that out of your head, bro. But listen, what Squid was talking about, so AA Dick. I don't know how you stand that nigga shit, bro. Like, y'all know AA Dick, okay? He was talking about this way of this is Hori's way of keeping Deku's power level in check by him not being able to use all the quirks at once, at least for now, literally addressing the people saying he's too powerful, Magaka. And then he shows the pen on Deku saying, I was using one for all at 45%, danger sense, smoke screen, black whip, Fajin, and float. And I switched them on off in rapid succession. But it was too much for my body. It was too much to process all at once. My body froze up. Now I've narrowed it down to using just one for all, black whip, and Fajin. Then I allowed him to better do his thing, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to Shad's manga only. Seems my thinking here was on the money. Deku would continue to fight during the endgame at full 100%, something that excites me personally far more than Deku attaining 100% before the end does. Struggle, limitations, and tension/intensity created from them, which makes the fights more thrilling because it's not the official, but it's more a fake thing. And people need to realize how he outsped that bullet once again was also using physics, not just him alone. And I told y'all niggas Nagant had a super move, bro. I don't know why I just thought she was gonna shoot one bullet and that was gonna be that. Bitch pulled out a goddamn.
I mean, I wonder what like that bullet was used for. Like she already got like a 50 cal. Like what is this for? You gotta blow up a whole building?
Well, the left. That's why I said like based on the fact that
who was she murking that she needed that big of a strap?
I mean, you get a gigantic villain, you shoot him with you know, what could only be described as like a 200 or 300 caliber round.
So, Fajin is a stockpiling quirk on top of a stockpiling quirk, right?
Yep.
In a way, yes, but it's more about momentum.
It's more,
yes. but it's stockpiled momentum. So
it's a temporary stockpile.
Okay, yes, if I'm honest, Fajin is the mechanic that I thought stored the energy for One For All initially.
Really? I thought Fajin was more of a wind up always.
So the way I always thought that One For All initially like built up, because it was like it stockpiles power, and I was like, well, there's a lot of things that can mean. It can mean the calories that you consume and burn, which means just by eating, you're contributing to the stockpile of One For All. It could be, but
just like moving,
yeah, like just by moving. So
so it's like it's making like a file of like all the kinetic energy and like storing it.
Right. And then it replicates the as you build up on it. And so like if you think about it, Fajin is like you store up a bunch of centrifugal force, you store up a bunch of energy, and you release it. So like that's what I always thought the mechanic behind how One For All was like working, and it just ends up being that's how Fajin works. So like One For All, like they could actually function the same way, in which case it's just like Fajin.
I wonder if it made the stockpiling aspect, because we know quirks can mutate and kind of like inherit properties. I wonder if like the third like kind of created like that exponential growth in the quirk to where like stockpile was already pretty good, but then Fajin with its ability to absorb kinetic energy made it like way better on top of that.
I don't think that because it was like dormant until then.
I would imagine not, because you had no access to these other quirks.
Right, it was dormant.
It was just sitting there building itself.
So that wouldn't make any sense.
But Fajin is that if I understand this correctly, at least the way he treated it currently is he stores up all this energy and then he releases it all in one move, or at least all the energy in one limb in one move. He can't go like in smaller bursts.
Because you have to wind it up, and there's a massive amount of energy, and plus you have to wind it up, so you can't just like do it and then do it again. That's why he was like, I got one more boost left in my other leg that I can use for that. So that's why he used it for Manchester Smash to break her arm. So like again, it's always balanced.
That's a stressful quirk to have if it's the only quirk you have. It's really great to combine with One For All, but if the third just has this quirk, like he's just running around for hours in a fight until you can finally use it to attack back once.
That quirk is dangerous right now, because literally what can if he comes at 100%.
But he also has One For All.
Hold on. That's what I mean. With One For All, it's great.
Thank you. Just wanted to say, like, if that quirk comes at 100%, when Deku will control his quirk at 100%, can you imagine how one shot with that quirk can be, how powerful it can be? Because right now he imitates with 45% One For All, the 100% one. He called it faux. Faux means fake in French, so fake 100%. That's the thing about it. So I can't wait to see how that shot can take heads off, literally. If he shots you with that power, when he gets 100%, you don't have a head anymore.
Of course. That's what I mean. That's with One For All, this quirk is amazing. But if you just have that quirk, it would just be annoying because you have to run around for hours
Yes,
until you can
facts.
charge up for one attack, and then you
Yep.
have to use that one attack, and then if it
Yeah.
doesn't work, you
Although
have to
to
run
be
again.
fair, hold on. Although to be fair, it's like a really powerful attack because you're like storing hours.
Depends
of
on how
kinetic
much you're
energy.
running before you do the attack. I mean, if you run a marathon before that, great.
Well, it's
all
also
the
that
quirks,
it's not just like just
all the
running in
quirks
general.
of the previous
It's
season
your
were that bad.
they specifically detail in the chapter that the energy is built up in different body parts.
Mhm.
So, for example, if you're moving your arms a lot, the kinetic energy from your arms is getting stored for Fajin, while compared to your legs, etc.
Yeah, of course. It's just running was just an
You
example.
know what? My favorite Naya. I know some of y'all don't remember Naya, but he was a guest on here a couple
Mhm.
weeks. Yeah, I know Aniki and Panzu definitely remember him, but he was talking about how it's actually much more of a hindrance as we've seen because Deku has a wider variety of catalog of quirks to choose from that actually stunt his process and when thinking because you gotta think like, okay, Bakugo has nothing but explosion. So all he got is explosion, but the various ways he can use his shit with all the different moves he got, he can think on the go faster than Deku can actually think. Because it's like, yeah, Deku can react, but don't think about dangers, don't think about all that. Think about he has to use, okay, what is Kachan about to use? And I have, what should I use? Say Black Whip, should I smoke, do this? Should I Fajin jump that, kick him? What should I do? Because I don't even know what move he's gonna do. So at the same time, it's like I got so many options. It's kind of limited to me as much as it's helping me at the same time. It's a double-edged sword.
Yes.
So it's like I got so many things to do at once. Bakugo's like, I got this move, and if he does this, I got this. So it's like I can Bakugo keep rolling faster, but Deku's processing is getting better, but at the same time, it's a lot of a hindrance.
So real quick though, I do want to address that Fajin actually is a great quirk for its era.
Yes, for sure.
I mean,
Like,
are we gonna say
hold
that
on,
the third?
hold on.
Okay.
Okay, and the reason for that being is that because most of the quirks weren't like super powerful, if you're like boxing somebody and you're like, you throw like 3 jabs and then like you're doing that and then like you throw a quick hook, but in that hook you release the stored up 3 jab kinetic energy, you're still hitting people with like triple, quadruple blows. So it's like when you're fighting people hand to hand in that area, it would have been a bit more common, not as many pie plate quirks like Shoto,
Yeah, true. I mean,
So like for his era, he would have been pretty solid even before One for All, and then having One for All, especially once he would have been practicing with it. If he would have turned on One for All and Fajin and always made it a point to store the energy that he was like for Fajin while he was fighting in One for All, he would have been probably stronger than Shinomori, even though Shinomori was the 4th.
And you gotta think about it too. Like the third is a big ass nigga. That nigga is stocky, boy. That's a big boy right there. So you got this nigga using martial arts with enhanced like combo hits on his arms and like his legs and like shit, nigga. That motherfucker gonna hurt.
Yeah, true. Technically, you could just in a boxing match do every second attack a double hit, basically.
Yeah, just wind up twice, wind up twice, like god damn.
And they already know how to generate like power naturally to their feet, so it's like they do like a quick like like they double the jab up and then they plant their feet, they throw that's an instant KO shot as far as I'm concerned.
Because I'm thinking about this, because like you're a wrestler, Squid, so I was primarily a striker for a lot of my like stuff, so it's like I'm looking at this from the angle of like as you're building up that Fajin, especially because as you're working out with your core too, if you're channeling and you're doing the right kinetic link, and then like that energy effect, like even the Fajin you store in your core should still be able to enhance the blows from your legs. So you're getting many times.
Guys,
just
Daniel,
having a couple blows.
Daniel said something really interesting.
Yeah.
But Fajin was weaker back then, like the other quirks. So the boost might have been a very little back then.
True.
But like
it's still a boost.
Yeah, so like let's say you can't do it every 2 jabs, but instead like you throw like 3, 4, 5 jabs, and then like you just save it for like one big one. You're still getting an advantage. Like when somebody goes to block because they're used to reading your speed or whatever, and it'll give you like an extra. So even that like slight half, like third of a second.
Or like if you're in a wrestling match and someone takes you to the ground, you can use Fajin in a scramble and out explode them back onto top where you can gain top control.
Hey,
technically, there's nothing that would stop you from just charging up before the game, before the match.
Yeah.
Just Like every free time, do a few sit-ups, do a few push-ups, and then just go.
And you got to think, we're talking. Okay, this is your fight. This is your fighter. Your match is at 5 p.m. You need to do this and the other. Back in the day, they wasn't doing that whole. All right, we're gonna meet here. We gonna see you on the street. We gonna fight at 5 o'clock. Back in the day, they was fighting life or death. So you just see the nigga. It was on sight. So you up on a roof and you see somebody walking like, yeah, they gonna want for all for one nigga right there, jump off the building and just hit his ass. So it's like you gotta think about the scenario they were doing back then.
Oh, they was out here jumping people.
I bet the third was just a very movement jerky kind of guy who just sat around always tripling with his feet and circling with his arms to build up energy all the time.
Yes, like
that's what I'd be doing. Like I'd be sitting here like
I see him like moving like
he is perpetually no. He perpetually on the high school track team.
Like the kind of guy where everybody is just, can you stop moving your feet for once?
Just imagine him just like constantly moving his fingers like this so that his knuckles and hands have like just a bunch of force.
Rotating his arm like things in Hunter x Hunter, like
or how or the one guy who's like constantly doing, or the one guy who's like doing like those lunges like just in the middle of nowhere. Just like side to side.
The guy that's standing next to you and just jumping from one leg to the other all the time.
So actually, I got a good conversation for us to have in a split second. So I'm first gonna read JJ because he added me, and then we're gonna talk about the video game. All right, I doubt Fajin. JJ, I'll just cut it short. I never said Fajin was just for the legs. I said you could use it on any body part. We was literally just talking about spinning up the arms and doing that type of shit. So back to Silver Loon, he was talking about Deku is basically a fighting game character that is super complex, moveless, with many different stance options. And then since we're talking about the video game, the Arc System rumor that we're gonna have the MHA fighters like Dragon Ball Fighter Z, it's interesting to talk about. So like I know most of y'all here play Naruto Ninja Storm, right? Or a Naruto game or an anime fucking game.
I'm gonna be honest.
You know that in most of the Naruto games, or if you've even seen gameplay, Naruto and Sasuke, basically the only two niggas that throughout all the games get new move sets and costumes and everything. I've been using the same move for Rock Lee for the past fucking 4 video games. Nigga. He has not changed his move set.
I mean, to be fair, you wouldn't have that in a fighting game. That wouldn't be a problem in a fighting game.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so it's like, all right, so like they're saying like Deku has like imagine you playing Tekken. It's much harder to play Tekken than it is like Naruto Ninja Storm, or like you got like or Mortal Kombat. You have like a bunch of different like which combinations can I use, and it hinders you more when you try to use one combinations. Meanwhile, the nigga on the other side, you just punching you with the fucking same move. Same move, or this move. Well, I got like 3 moves. I know how to use my moves way better than you can. You trying to do these complicated, these, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying?
Or when they're doing it intelligently, they call it zoning. No disrespect to them. But
yes, so it's
be honest, it's spamming intelligently, maintaining distance.
I agree, disagree on that one, but okay.
All right,
but you get the general idea.
Like I have no disrespect for them, but.
All right, so real quick, I gotta be honest.
Sorry, yes?
I do not want an ArcSys My Hero fighting game.
I don't think it's real, but I'm curious why you say that. Why?
Because I didn't even like Dragon Ball Fighters.
I don't care for fighters. I don't care for fighters personally, but I actually like ArcSys as a company, so I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Like Dragon Ball Fighters, it was like cool for. Like, how do I explain this for me? Like, Dragon Ball Fighters was cool for a bit, but like, it's got that. It's like the kind of fighting game where, you got like you can do the infinite juggle combos, whatever, but like, it's not that interesting to me. Like, it just didn't. Like, it wasn't as fun as I was like hoping it would be. I do think it delivers on the theme of DBZ well, but like as a fighting game. Like Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, still way better.
I
kind of grew up with Marvel.
I'm a Tekken guy. I'm a Tekken guy, so literally.
I don't know about Mortal Kombat, but I can agree with that. The point being is though, I think that's mostly due to the fact that it's just the nature of Dragon Ball. I don't think you'd have that. I don't think you'd have that issue.
Budokai
think he-
Tenkaichi
I
3
don't think-
is still the best
yeah,
Dragon Ball
yeah.
game made.
No.
Facts.
Budokai 3 was the best.
Best
I don't-
Budokai 3 was the best.
I don't think
Budokai
it.
3.
I would say Burst Limit is better than all of those. But anyway, I'd say the thing is, you wouldn't have this problem with a My Hero because it'd be more, as they even said on the league, it'd be more grounded. Although they also said it would be less combo heavy as well. So who knows what that means? But we'd see. If it were real, of course. I don't think it is.
I
don't
want to
think
see
it's
how they
real.
would adapt
Look.
pre-surgery Shigaraki's.
There's a couple things that I got to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't want another arena fighter, even if it's One's Justice 3 or something like that. I don't want another arena fighter for MHA.
Oh, One Justice 3 nasty.
Like I don't want another arena fighter. In fact, I think anime games need to be released from the shackles of arena fighters because oh my god, like arena fighters aren't even like the most fun kind of fighters.
It depends
We have a
on
game going crazy.
to me it depends on what the game what the series is. Because like
Right.
I remember One Piece released an open world game.
I would say MHA should probably have more variety than just arena fighters. But things like JJK or fucking like but I don't have a problem with arena fighters.
No, JJK shouldn't even have been reduced to an arena fighter. JJK would have been so much colder.
What do you mean would have been? There is no games yet.
Look. I'm just saying, like, if JJK gets a fighting game, don't make it an arena fighter. Go with like 2D or light 3D, but like don't do the arena fighter.
No, there's a reason why they're going to do an arena fighter first. I can tell you that right now. And it's not even just because of the fact that it's like laziness. It's the fact that they're pretty much they have to get the game out in a certain time for that license. So they're gonna have to do something quick. So the thing is, an arena fighter is something that can get done a lot faster than a 2D fighter. Because a 2D fighter, based on an anime, would require a lot of research, a lot of creativity, a lot of like unique features and all that shit that you probably don't have time for right now. At least not for the first foray into the IP.
Like, I mean, that just comes down to what your investors and team want, though. Like, in what?
Oh, I mean, that's the thing.
Production.
That's the thing. You have to remember who's the publisher. It's Bandai. You know exactly how this is gonna go.
Hold up. I used to type comments about Spider-Man. Screw a fighting game. I want an MHA open world game. Think of Arkham or Spider-Man type games with multiple playable characters.
Listen, they got the
correct,
blueprint.
son. You're right. 2D, yes, you're correct. Anyway, but
I think what MHA needs is a good gacha system with some action, maybe a lot of stamina. Well, not a lot of stamina because you got to buy that shit so we can make some money. Maybe you can get some characters during an event. That'd be great. That'd be perfect. I wish MHA had a game like that.
No. What MHA needs is an Endeavor spin-off.
Something you can play, on the go, like on the go, on your phone, on your iPad.
If you're all
you know what we really need? We need a game. No, we need a game that you have to pay for to play every minute.
Yeah,
I know you're not.
On top of microtransactions.
We need to fix that pillow for SAS for sure.
Watkins, I know you're not talking about the strongest hero because that gacha system's terrible.
Strongest hero available everywhere where you have a phone.
That gacha system is terrible. If you want
this is not a prayer. Horrible. We at the church do not agree with BG's notion.
Yep.
I said the gacha system. I said the game's bad. I said the gacha system is terrible.
We do not agree, and he is not part of this. The promotion still stands, and the sponsor still stands.
No, like I said, you should be. If I would push anything, I'd push Ultra Impact. Have a better fucking gacha system.
They paying us money. Stop talking. As we were saying,
exactly. You got to keep the sponsorship going.
Back to the pay. You got
to disclose that.
Even for a heartfelt promotion that is completely real.
But look, for real, when it comes to these games, and like somebody mentioned the open world, yeah, give me a My Hero RPG. Yes. Where like actually, and give me one that's like divorced of even like the Deku plot. I don't need that. Like,
give me GTA, but with the League of Villains.
What?
Like,
there's a mod for that. Just download that.
Yeah, don't tease me with that.
But yeah, like with KNY. Like KNY especially, I actually would have liked more as a 2D fighter than a 3D than a fighter. But
we'll see. Cause the game looked fun. I ain't gonna lie.
Like It's just that like the comboing mechanics in 2D fighters usually ends up being more interesting than what we get out of arena fighters.
Well, there's another reason. There's also another reason why I would imagine why they wouldn't really want to put a lot of stock in 2D fighting games these days, because the way that they do like actual fighting games, like competitive fighting games, that's not going to hold anybody, like not the casual audience at least. It'll attract the fighting game audience, but that's much smaller than the casual audience. The casual audience will buy the game because it's a series they like.
Yeah, but then you have to add in.
Hold on. And then after about a week or a month at max, those casuals are going to dip because the game's too difficult for them to play. So then the game lives and dies by their DLC.
I don't agree with that.
That's how it is. That's always with the fighters too. For fighters and all fighting games, really.
Let me tell you why.
That's a consistent thing.
Let me tell y'all straight up why y'all would never, ever, in this lifetime, get an MH game built with a original character that's devoid of the Deku in that Shigaraki plot line, and it'd be open world like let's say it'd be open world with creative character customization like the Fallen Jedi Order, whatever the last Star Wars game was that was
that Fallen Order, yeah.
Yeah, and a Spider-Man. Let me tell you why you never get that. Because niggas don't like money. They may fool you into thinking they like money, but they really don't. If you create a really good product, I promise you niggas will stay with that shit longer than that garbage bullshit you just try to spam out because you want a quick buck. A quick buck or longevity. One of them motherfuckers gonna run out and you gonna keep wasting that money on One's Justice. The same amount of niggas that not pay for One Justice 2 that pay for One Justice 1 because they wasn't falling for y'all bullshit. Well, there is no reason the graphics should be that goddamn ugly, at least, man. You gonna have basic ass mechanics, the graphics should not be that ugly like we on PS2 or PS3.
I mean, okay, I don't agree with that.
Bro, we really got that twisted metal type graphics.
I don't agree with that notion. I don't agree with that notion, but I will say that the reason that people ain't buy it, that's not the reason people ain't buy the game. The reason people didn't buy the game is the same reason not that many people bought the first game. Is because whoever the Bandai does not know when the fuck to release games. They keep releasing them on the same fucking day as like a super huge release.
Yeah, like
they released the first game at the same day as Red Dead 2. Who the fuck is thinking about buying a goddamn My Hero game around the time of Red Dead 2?
People who don't care about westerns.
Yes, and then you know how many people of those that are just anime fans that are also that are buying that, but they won't buy that too. Because that's one of those biggest games of the year.
Bro, Red Dead 2 was basically the next GTA. The closest thing we was getting
Red
GTA.
Dead ate that game alive. Ate it.
So that game was really good.
BG, would you even buy One Justice 2?
No matter the time it was released. Another game came out too around the time of Red Dead.
Wasn't it like Spider-Man?
No, it wasn't Spider-Man because One Justice 2 came out in 2019, right?
Okay.
Was it 2019 or 2020?
Came out in 2018.
No, that's not Spider-Man. I'm talking about what.
It was 2020.
It was 2020. Mm-hmm. What do you remember the date? Because I know what games that came out last year.
Wasn't it early?
Was it October?
Was it like
another
Call of? Wait, hold on. Was it another Call of Duty?
One's Justice 1 came out August 23rd, 2018. One's Justice 2. March 13th, 2020.
March. What was it? Was that Final Fantasy?
August 23rd, 2020?
He said March.
March 13th, 2020.
It came out.
That was Final Fantasy.
Oh, they definitely fucked up with that.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute.
This is stupid. I'd push that shit back a month. I'm like, hey, I've been in the office like, hey, I don't give a fuck what y'all talking about. Y'all gonna have to delay that shit, nigga. If y'all want to get paid, y'all might want to delay that.
We delayed that like a whole a jillion years, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like they keep doing this. They keep fucking releasing it at the time of super huge games.
But no, that still backs me up. Like niggas don't like money. It's simple shit you can do. Like, bro, you just wait a month to release it so you could potentially get more money. In your right mind, you could not.
Okay, hold on.
Compete.
So really this is what. Hold on. I got you. You ready for this?
All right, ready.
I found a March 2020 games release list.
All right.
So this is just the big titles that came out in March for 2020, more than likely. March 3rd, 2020, The Division 2, Warlords of New York. March 6th, 2020, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX.
Definitely fucked up.
March 6th, Carly and the Reaperman Escape from the Underworld, PSVR, so whatever. March 11th, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, Xbox One, PC. That's another Ori and the Blind Forest game though. So like, yeah, that actually does matter. Huge cult following. March 13th,
Beautiful
Neo
game.
2.
Ooh. Yep.
I know y'all should have dug y'all grave right in there.
Yep.
So My Heroes One's Justice 2 and Neo 2 came out on the 13th. On the 17th, La Mulana Hidden Treasures edition for it. So like 1 and 2. MLB The Show, Remnant the Ashes, all March 17th. Animal Crossing New Horizons came out on March 20th.
Oh god,
there we
That
go.
shit boomed. That shit boomed for I don't know what reason.
Oh, because it was
But-
March
pandemic.
13th
That's
was
when the lockdown started.
March 13th was the day the pandemic started actually getting taken seriously in America.
Yeah.
And I know this because at my job, we had a massive like spike in call flow because I think we've explained, we do the whole contracted by the government, listen to people's private conversations, send them documentation, yada, yada, yada.
You've talked about it.
So yeah, like that started and we went from like 30 to 40 agents available who like handle the calls to negative 200, and it just stayed that way for like a whole month. Like that's how much people were just in the house stuck on the phone.
Yeah.
Like we were just like negative 200 for like a whole day. Like as soon as you got off a call, another one was there. So yeah, niggas was wilding for this time period. So which should have helped One's Justice too, but hey.
I mean, I actually know there were like some people.
What should help once?
Everybody being locked in for a pandemic, but
yeah, but you got to remember at that point people weren't making no money, so they had to be selective on what the fuck they buy.
Yeah, they just got laid off because Fairy Tail came out like on the 20th. Leading Edge was on the 24th. One Piece Pirate Warriors was later that month.
Oh shit! Yep.
Persona 5 Royal was on the 31st of March.
Damn, shit.
No, it was April.
Damn, they should have waited for that.
Listen,
shit.
whoever decides
I told you.
to release
Nah, because
these,
hold on.
Yeah.
Because if they had done April, you had Resident Evil 3 on April 3rd, the Final Fantasy 7 remake on April 10th. Nobody, I don't remember anybody talking about Hellpoint, so
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, Tactical Galactical, PUBG Season 7 came out.
Nobody plays PUBG anymore.
Yeah. Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 Road to Boruto.
Yeah, nobody cared about that either. So I'm like,
Yeah.
April would have been great.
I would have just waited. I would have did my research. Niggas cannot have been like looking at the
No,
market.
I mean, like, no. I mean, like, while they didn't release it at an optimal time, they treated it much better than they treated that Black Clover game. The Black Clover game.
Wait, they had a Black
I
Clover.
keep forgetting that Black
I didn't
Clover
even know
game.
that shit existed, bro.
They didn't advertise the game until it was released.
I didn't even know that shit existed. I think
So when the
Panzer
game
was
came-
the only person playing that game.
I played the beta. Once the game came out, like they pretty much had the beta come out. They say, "Oh, the beta's here." Okay. Then they didn't advertise the game again until the game was released, so nobody bought it.
All right, we got one super chat from Whack. Endeavor dating sim for Sayas win. If you don't, if every person donates at least $1 to the church, the proceeds go to Sayas's dating sim.
So, which is,
I mean, hey, who knows?
by the way, I'm glad people were like, there was a Black Clover. Black Clover has a game.
Yes,
Nigga, I ain't know.
it has one
I
game.
swear half these games would be
game
like
sucks.
money
Before-
laundering schemes.
I don't like these damn Overwatch based games like that game or like Quartet Nights or fucking like
Quartet Nights. That was the name of the game.
I don't like these Overwatch clones. They're not fun.
I mean, one of my favorite games this year. I've actually been playing it for a long time. It's Hollow Knight by Team Cherry. That's a really
Isn't that a roguelike?
No. You're thinking of Splunky.
Splunky? What the fuck is Splunky?
That nigga said, "What the fuck is Splunky?" Nah, Poison Tree. Demon Slayer is getting a game. It's in the middle of being created. We have seen like one trailer,
Yes,
but it wasn't much.
One trailer. There's been like a fuck ton of them of character trailers.
Character trailers and all that.
I feel like Arena Fighter is gonna like slowly become code word for like bargain bin.
No. I mean, like this game looks fun. Like I said, Yeah, but Arena Fighters are fun. I don't really have a problem.
Unless they include a manga characters, I think it's a little bit premature, huh? Because if season 2 ain't even out, and they even got unless they do a DLC, or unless
from what I can see, they're going from the beginning to Demon Train.
That's not that many characters though. Do you have that Hashira to play? I mean,
I don't know.
Because their roster gonna be small as shit, to be honest.
I ain't gonna hold you. There's a bunch of clones.
Yeah.
There's
There's
not
like
even just
3
clones.
different Tanjiros or something.
Yeah.
There's
see-
there's 3 Tanjiros and there's about 4 water niggas.
Yeah.
See,
No,
like
5. No, there's 5. There's 5.
5. Oh
Exactly.
my
There's a
God.
Rokudaki. There's a Rokudaki. There's Tanjiro. There's what was that? What were those 2 ghost people?
Those 2 ghost people.
Wow.
Yeah, them and Gyu.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
So all there's 5 water niggas.
they probably, I bet you they all got similar movesets because all the niggas use breathing techniques.
Their combos are different, but yeah.
I forget, how does the breathing techniques work? Like the
They're all in your head.
Like
They're all in
it's
your
like
head.
all in your
Yeah.
head, right? It's just like in reality, just a regular sword slice.
I swear to God, I was letting it slide. I was letting it slide because I was like, all right, it's anime and Tanjiro using water, so it's water. Of course, it seep back into the ground or just sits like a puddle. So I was letting it go. Zanette's using lightning, so it's not exact, but it's coming from his body and he's using to speed up. So I was like, okay, it's nothing too crazy. And then Inosuke barely used like one technique throughout the entire first season, which was like the sonar wave. So I'm like, there's nothing like too crazy, what have you. That's like, all right, these niggas definitely using their breath. But then like, I seen some like other shit later in the manga. I don't even know who did it. But some niggas summon like a fucking Buddha statue. And I'm like, all right, who the fuck got that shit coming in their head? Like, all right, these niggas kind of bugging, bro. Like, I see like later panels, because I be getting spoiled. These niggas is going to spoil it.
Nah, bro. Look, this is my problem right here. This. You see this? This is what cloud breathing is. This nigga just be swinging his sword in front of his face like you can't see me.
Oh,
that's how that works.
You talking about misbreathing from?
Yes, bro. Why would you ever say this shit wasn't fake and then have because that's the only explanation now. He is canonically just waving his sword in front of his face.
Yep.
Yeah, he had like a little cloth attached to it.
I thought you were good. I think you got to point something out too, though. That doesn't make any sense.
Bruh.
If all the breathing techniques are just
imaginary,
it's
just in your head. It's just really quick sword slices.
No. Fuck that. They're just techniques.
Mhm.
They're just like sword techniques. If that's all it is, why the fuck do you need to be a certain bloodline to use sun breathing?
That's what I'm saying.
No, because your breath ain't built like that.
There was actually a conversation that recently got popped up because I was like, people got to get off their high horse to defend it. Like somebody randomly liked my old tweet about that. I was like, y'all can't be on the high horse about this. Like, nah. And it's like cloud, like somebody was like, how the fuck did Zenitsu burn the air and all that other stuff if he doesn't actually use lightning? How did he do this?
Because his side
maybe it's like all in their head. Everything.
Bro, no. The idea, if I understood the idea, is that they with sword techniques they try to copy the element that they're using, like the potenza. If you use water, you're flowing like water. That's the idea.
Mhm.
Like, if you're like thunder, like you can replicate the effects of thunder, speed, and maybe electrocution, but like high speed. I don't know how they do that, but so you know what I mean.
Because
Anime
swinging
stuff.
But there's a big problem with that though.
Yeah, but that's the thing about when they come to the mist guy in the manga or the love one of the fire is flame style. You can say that you're so fast that you're making like burning people. You're burning people. Like, okay.
Do you know why that doesn't work though?
Why?
Because essentially during the Demon Train arc, Tanjiro is like completely on the other side of the train, and he's here and he says he hears a thunderclap. That's how he knows Zenitsu's awake. How the fuck did you hear a thunderclap if this isn't real?
I
like to think like they got like
basically off of Aniki explanation, I would seem like a fucking crazy nigga if I'm about to fight Aniki, the nigga like 6 foot something. I'm 5'4" and I stand in front of Anki waving a fucking stick. You can't see me. You can't see me. Am I over here? Am I over here? They're gonna punch in my goddamn face like I'm fucking stupid. It's a bunch of, basically what you telling me is all the pillars and the niggas using breathing techniques from Yaiba is a bunch of mental pages running around coloring clothing. That's what you telling me.
Like,
Conjure, you need to have your meds quick. You're
Yo,
off
the
your
real
meds.
ending is Tanjiro's like, I had another dream. It's like, that's good, Tanjiro. And everybody's like, you know, I forgot what movie did that shit. It was like the entire time, nobody was real. Like, nobody was actually the real people. The main character was like a crazy person. And
that's
all the
called
characters,
that's
no,
Sucker
don't
Punch.
spoil. There, you spoiled. I was trying to. I didn't want to spoil who. I knew. I forgot what it was, but I
That
didn't want
movie
to spoil.
sucks. It doesn't matter.
But
Yeah.
then I was like, damn. So the entire time, all the characters were like either mental patients or workers. So
Movie is the Sucker Punch.
That movie's.
Ayo, yeah,
That movie
remember
sucks.
it's from Zack Snyder.
Water
That's why it
breathing.
sucks.
Well, yeah, wasn't that movie called Sucker Punch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
So
five
here's the
minutes.
thing.
Like-
I will say that Demon Slayer is still fun. You should be able to enjoy the fights
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. It's just that when the manga said that nobody had powers and then had niggas doing shit that you only do when you got powers.
Yeah.
I just no, Matt. Just think of like the whole world is just like it's inhabited by like it's by the perspective of like a mental patient.
So Cameron,
Tanjiro's just at the toilet, just splashing the water, being like, "Water breathing."
there's like that's why they don't give him cups of water anymore. They have to feed it to him because he's like, Tanjiro, please drink your water. Fist out. Dragon breath.
Wait, I have fire now. Boiling water.
That's the troop I
but
keep
what
you
if-
depressed because he's tired of working at that damn job with all these crazy ass people.
Nah, but what if the explanation is he just dips his sword in water and then just starts swinging it around? That's how it
No,
works.
no. You know what he does? He dips a stick in water and then just starts flicking it.
oh my
The
god.
power
Okay.
system,
All right.
power system in that series is just hilarious.
So real quick though, yeah, because like that's my big issue. Like knowing that ruined the suspension of disbelief beyond repair. Like,
No, I just made it funny. Like now you need to imagine like they're just a bunch of crazy people waving sticks.
Yeah, see, they said, what is love breath supposed to be? She pull out her titties and seduce you.
Like
I mean,
Watkins, you out of pocket for that one.
I mean, to be fair, to be fair to them, no, hold on. To be fair to them, Love Reaper doesn't mean anything even within the series itself. So I'm like, it's just techniques. So that's actually the most norm. She's probably the one that everything we see is what we get, because she doesn't have any fucking powers. She's just a fucking freak of nature with her strength.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
But Cameron, to me, in the ideal world, yes, we actually are gonna get all the way through that. Because there's like 2 pages of chapter 216 that didn't get adapted. It is literally when Aizawa was like, "Hey Monoma, I want you to come with me next week, or come over to see me tomorrow." And he's like, "What, me?" And like that scene could literally just be getting cut, and I would be fine with that.
When he sets up for them to meet Area again.
Because then it's just like, because like you can cut that part of them being like, "Oh, Monoma, da 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 da," and then we can just have it like start next week with that if we really want.
I promise you, anime only is not gonna care.
That's like honestly, I almost want them to cut that scene.
Why?
Because only because like that's like if they're gonna cut scenes, because you know they like do like little cuts here and there. If we know that there's a page or a bit of dialogue that's gonna be cut from the season, that is the most affordable page to cut ever.
watch them cut like Black
out of everything they've ever cut out in the series, the Monoma "Can you go meet up with me tomorrow" page is like the page they could get away with.
Yeah.
But also, it's episode 100, so I feel like they got to do something fancy for it. Like I just don't see a studio not doing anything to commemorate episode 100, because what's the last series Bones even did that went to 100 episodes?
Nothing. I think they surpassed everything at. I think it was like 60s or something. They passed.
This is their longest series.
Yeah, it passed it a while ago too. I forgot what series it was.
It was FMAB.
So yeah, no, FMAB was like 58.
No, it wasn't.
That was like 64.
That's 03. There's 64 episodes in FMAB.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, no, 03 had 55, but yeah.
Yeah, see, it just averaged them. But but yeah. So, and the other way that I look at it is is you can kind of just. I'm not. Oh wait. I'm not saying cut the actual conversation with Eri. Literally, just the part where Aizawa like has to talk about what you're gonna see within the next 3 minutes anyway.
Yeah. Oh, to address this thing, they didn't actually cut out the Shirakumo flashback completely because that scene is literally within the previews for next episode. So they just rearranged it, which still helps because it's still there. So the scene is still there. We know that for a fact because we literally see them walking, and Mike like has a face where he acts and is like, "Yo, is he like reminding you of something?"
And so the other thing though is that a part of the chapter or the part of the episode would likely be the Redestro commercial. And depending on how they decide to do it, you can make that like one scene be like the actual length of an average commercial of like 30 to 45 seconds. Even that's like 3 or 4 pages.
Well, I wanted to ask y'all, then how do y'all feel about the fact that NBA is going to be shorter than JT?
I mean, that's fine. The problem means more consistent. The problem is they shoot more shit into like getting it done. I don't know how much they're gonna.
I always said that was going to be the case. Like JT, the front half of the season, because JT starts depending on how you want to look at it at like 193 and finishes it around like 218. Like depending on which one. Like some people consider NBA's start to be 220. You can look at 218 as the start too. It doesn't matter which one really. But there's always been a slight chapter lead in JT, so it was always going to be a little.
My thing about that is
longer.
I told y'all. Listen, my hopes ain't that high for the NBA opening. I step on the visuals, but listen, if them kids gonna be in there, EA gonna be in there. It better be 3 fucking seconds, like how they shitted on 1B. In the last opening, they shitted on 1B in the last opening. They better shit on them kids in this NBA opening.
I only care about the fact that I don't care when they do it. I don't care if it's an eye catch and they do that little like fucking destroying the thing. I just want it to happen in some way.
It's gotta happen.
I mean, it can happen in an eye catch though.
That's a bigger fumble than the fucking.
Well, how would you
opening?
Feel? That's what I'm saying. How would you feel if they did that in an eye catch?
What you mean? But define eye catch.
An eye catch is like in the middle of the episode where they show that little, that scene where they show the little fucking like. It shows the logo and then it shows the fucking like bio for a character.
Mm-hmm. So instead, would it be just a one-time thing or reoccurring?
It might be a reoccurring, it might be a one-time thing. It would just be like they have the MHA logo come up and Shiki the case. It's like, get the shit out of here.
So it's depending on whether we want that one iconic moment or a reoccurring thing we would like for like 10 episodes, 9 episodes.
That's still too much.
7,
honestly, 7 would be more likely.
7. So for 7 episodes, we had a little recurring thing, or we just have
20. It's like a 22, 23 chapter arc. Yeah, 7's about right.
I'll just take my iconic moment for the decay coming out the blue.
Hold on. Okay, look. So it's gonna also come down to how the directing is done for a lot of the scenes. For example, like that scene where Shigaraki is talking about all the things he wants to destroy, instead of it just being a giant spread, they might actually like, as he's talking, like lead into it and have like different cutaways to all the stuff. So like instead you have his narration as like we're like seeing all the things he's talking about, which will lengthen that scene. And it wouldn't even be like a bad lengthening. It would be pretty organic. It'd just be a way of like really processing all these things that we see as good, all the things. And especially when you think about how at this point in the story, even a lot of people who didn't feel like Hero Society had some shady stuff to it, are like, wow, Hero Society has some really shady stuff to it. So like seeing all these beautiful things being described in such an ugly way might be a really good choice for directing.
But once again, that goes down to creative liberties and stuff like that. So nice segue for me, because like I was saying, this last episode, which I did, people always want a bunch of Sakuga, but they focused on a lot of the growth and the heart of the characters, which I definitely appreciated, and I love the episode. The ending scene is the one of the things I would talk about would take creative liberties. There was no indication that the sun was purple and it was sunset when they were doing the talking about reflecting on the match and stuff like that. But the fact they added that and it felt like a long day came to an end and everybody reflected on, yeah, we came this far, we did all this stuff, and now we here. That's what it felt like when they just took the creative liberty just to add a little bit of like amp up the scene with some music and put the lighting down like it's a sunset. That's what I mean by creative liberties. I'm not talking about change the entire thing, but I'm like, you can just add certain things like the sky wasn't purple during Pro Hero.
or orange, but they added that because it makes it more dramatic effect. That's what I'm saying. Use the medium to your advantage.
I have to say, I'd say I'm amazed that they learned that there's a different time period besides midday.
Yeah, they stayed on that shit. I was shocked.
Anyway, I have to go get food, so I will talk to you all another time.
You can
Okay,
do
VG.
photosynthesis. That's
Alright.
pretty weak, dog. All right, see you later.
All right, sayonara.
Hasta luego. No, the best OP was the first one from season 3.
Boy, listen. I keep my ideas for what?
Yeah,
No,
I
listen.
think so.
Undeniably, best visuals and fucking best song, bro. I don't care what talk about.
Bro,
Yeah,
If you
sure.
if you want to discuss like maybe song wise, okay. Visuals, nah. The third
No,
one is still unrivaled.
the third season 3 first OP, even if you don't like the song as much, it is the best matched up one. Because like that, like there's that scene where like and then you got All Might powering up and it's like
And genuinely, it's the opening with the most endeavor in it, so I can't disagree.
Oh,
I'm still miffed about them not putting him in any of the openings, even if he is in an arc there.
Well, he wasn't.
the first one was a really good first one opening, I think so. It was really to make it as a first. The day has come. The day has come. Was really good. That was a really good choice.
Oh, that first hit.
But
Yeah.
listen, if you got a subwoofer and you connect that to when that bass hits, yes.
oh, as far as ending visuals though, season 4 core 1 ending with the Airy.
All right.
Oh, that one doesn't get talked of about. Like
That was
I remember I peeped that.
amazing.
Yeah, like I remember I peeped that and I was like,
What?
why is nobody talking about this shit? Like the
I did like
opening
the just
visuals
more,
are
I think.
the opening visuals are like like lackluster as shit. People make a bunch of excuses, but I'm like, yeah, whatever. That shit was kind of like tacky and generic. But like the ending, that shit was clean as fuck, boy.
Like, man, that Airy ending was built different.
And it's not even like and it's not even like, oh, it grows on you. Like, no, it was a banger from all together. Like the hell, like I don't know why it's not talked about.
Dog, that, especially like later as the season was progressing. Ooh, that one was really hitting.
I just need like another Jiro arc would be cool.
Oh, we good. She had her arc. She can get her character moves. People need arcs, bro.
Oh, so
I
so-
want
Super chat.
Jiro.
oh wait, 1, 2, 3, Anaya 1, 4. How much do we think Bones will allow to be shown in NBA? Curious, Shigaraki's past, actual death. I hope they don't censor Shigaraki's backstory.
No, I'm listening. I'm gonna go ahead and read JDK.
Bleach.
Y'all got this chat. Y'all got
Okay,
this talk.
real quick. Poison Tree, Bleach has like some of the best openings and endings, period. And I personally
agree.
think that
Facts.
Bleach's very first opening is probably the strongest first opening out of any series I've encountered.
I can
I agree.
understand
I
why.
think Bleach openings are just the best thing. They are so artistic. Every opening does its own thing.
Daddy, 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 daddy.
Wow.
Shake up the
I was loving it as a kid. Bro.
The fucking camera spinning around.
Yeah.
Shake up the this spin again. I'm like,
I'm
watching.
Oh man, the rap was good. Damn. Bring it back to
I mean,
the
to be
old
honest-
days.
Can we remember that early 2000s drip that Ichigo had?
Bro,
No,
like,
okay.
Sauce on the man.
Can we just-
sauce? Like,
He knows to
Bro.
design characters.
like, okay. One of the things that I always think about is how like I can create like story, like I can never write like an actual story, but I can like sit here and like flesh out a character and create lore and stuff.
Mm.
And that's how I feel about like, man, like Kubo, like even if he doesn't always give like a character like the most satisfying arcs, he will always make sure that they are dressed properly.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
Yes.
And they have a nice jawline.
Kubo has always had the best character designs.
Yeah, definitely. I
Yes.
mean, it helps that
The
he's
big three are the big
drawing
three for sure.
his teenagers more 16-year-old teenager
Mhm.
rather
Than,
than
like,
making him look like 12.
12.
Yeah,
Yeah.
listen, bro. Like, nah, there was some grown ass men with some grown ass drip. They have money in the bank. Like,
Mhm.
I'm trying to tell you, like, that was style, flair, and charisma in those cover
Right.
pages. Like, bro,
God.
I wish like
There
I
were
be,
like
I be-
legit Bleach calendars you could get.
bro,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a
Oh
reason
my
I always
God.
choose
Fire.
Bleach profile pictures because they're just the best looking characters
Bro.
around.
Bro, I be in the club. I be like, bro, hardcore shit. I be looking at Bleach, like color palette, hardcore. Please, bro, look at these niggas with the drip sitting here. Do you remember the one on the couch when they was all just chilling on the couch
Yep.
with the drip out?
Yeah,
and
the
white?
one where they
Yeah.
was looking like cholos.
Yeah, like there's
Yes.
two. There's
Mm.
like there's one where they got white, and there's like another one where they just got like they look like cholos and shit. And it, bro, to this day, one of the cleanest color face I've ever seen in my life is the one where they coming out the subway, nigga. Oh,
Yep.
that's
No,
just so raw.
Because like, okay, and you can even see it in Burn the Witch. Like when Burn the Witch dropped,
Yes.
like because there's like a certain flavor that Kubo rival characters always get. So you're like, that's a Kubo rival character.
Mhm.
But they like Baz B, like Renji. I'm trying to remember what the dude's name. Bruno was his name in Burn the
Yeah.
Witch. Like,
Yo, we gotta appreciate the
Outfits were
shoe
impeccable.
game in the series, though. Have
What
you
I
seen
also-
some of the kicks they wear?
You see some of the ladies that are there.
What I also like, but really,
Portugal got
way too
drip.
few mangaka just do this, is just play with the hairstyle the characters have.
Yes.
Like there are panels where Renji doesn't have his hair open or has like the hair in a braid instead of the ponytail that he normally has.
Mm.
And he just goes ways. He just does things with the hair instead of just giving every character one hairstyle and going with it for 800 chapters.
Well, he also knows that these characters are moving and
Yeah.
in these fights, and that this shirt is going to be torn. That's why, like, I thought it was for me. I thought it was really cool how he incorporated Ichigo's like outfit to his what's the term? What's the word? Reiatsu.
Mhm.
Or like
yeah.
Because
he's like Ichigo's like, hey, I only have half of this because I'm at like half power.
yeah.
And
And
it's
just like, shit.
oh.
Okay, fine, all right. And then like kind of like what you were saying, Sias, about like Renji's hair goes from like being up in that ponytail to down when he's fighting, or same with Byakuya or Kenpachi. Like all these characters, like they actually look like they've been through shit as they go through shit. Like he was beyond his time, and I love Kubo.
Also,
I love battle damage. I love
Yes.
that shit.
Mm.
I love battle damage. That shit.
I just realized
Guys, I
realized
just have
something.
to tell you something.
All right, what is it? What is it?
Zack Snyder said in an interview that he's still open to make a Dragon Ball Z movie or
Fuck Zach.
other.
Anyway,
No.
real quick,
You going
I
on
just
mute?
want to say,
Yeah.
Kenpachi would have looked extra raw with those points made into a ponytail, so that it was like a spiky one spread out with the little bells on it.
Do you mean like Renji?
Yes,
Yeah.
if you would have had the Renji tail, but with the little bells too, that actually would have been a really good style for Kenpachi.
Kenpachi's Bankai was built different. Like his whole thing was just like, hey, like bro, he was so built different.
It's been like a decade, and I still remember the interest of Grimjaw. Yes. Also,
Yes.
Ichigo has like Ichigo has one of the best theme songs out of any like anime
Thank
character. Like when
you.
he pulls
Yes.
up, like,
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like
And
If
oh
you
my
want
god,
to see some
the fact-
action, bum.
the fact the villain stops that shit too, mid verse.
the only person like
God
close
damn.
from is like Sanji from One Piece, because Sanji actually has a pretty good like
Yeah.
beat that drops when he's about to like save people and shit.
Mhm.
But like, and it's not even close, really.
I have to say, actually, I mean, the beat is great, but music-wise, I actually prefer the Naruto OST. I love that.
Yeah,
Beat OST is something that's always
Naruto's a lot more
that beat is
emotional.
great.
Naruto.
But,
I don't know how they.
but
It's
compare
not so
like their-
recognizable in Naruto. Naruto it just hits and you know immediately that's Naruto.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you look, I knew
Bro, I
somebody
still
who actually
remember
made it a
that,
point
like-
to play Sorrow and Sadness, like they were learning how to play it.
Do, do,
And
do.
they're like, you would think this was. They're like, you would think this was more simple than it is, but like,
It's just awesome. You hear that flute, you know Naruto. You hear that organ
That
music,
goddamn
you know
flute.
Orochimaru is coming. That's it.
or this one.
Yeah, the flute. It's just going.
Oh yeah. Or the choir when the Akatsuki come out. God.
All right,
All right,
let's
yeah.
refocus. Let's refocus.
But seriously,
Yeah.
those,
Back to
a lot of
basics.
characters in
something that
Naruto
learned
had
from the big
very
three.
little drip though, especially in the war arc. They got like nothing, and they was standardized. So sad.
Somebody asked me one of the things that I didn't want to address in the censorship question though.
Yeah.
Is that how we'll know is how the first mask crumbling is handled, because if Bones wants to be creative, they can actually really play with these wide shots, because I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of damage that was done in NBA, and especially looking back at especially now that we have the war context, I think they'll be even more willing to go kind of ham with it, because we get a lot of wide shots in NBA, but if we see them actually do the close up, because one of the things that I'd really love is that as they go for that close up of the decay is show his hand crumbling into the face. And then if you want to kind of censor it, if you don't want to show it completely, as the hand goes in, then you have that camera angle pivot as Shigaraki zooms through them. So that way you end up focusing either more on Shigaraki as he's coming through, or his view as he rips through them and then turns around and sees them crumbling and pukes. So there's ways, but if you don't if we get that close up shot, then I'm not worried. But if we don't get any shots showing then I'm okay, we're gonna get a muted version of this.
I think they could still be stylistic, even with dealing with the more stricter daytime standards, because they could play with color. For example, the blood itself, it can be black and white. They could really make this way more surreal than grotesque. And I don't mind more surrealist work.
I don't mind
I'm a big
surrealist
fan.
work, because for me it's if I understand what's happening, then I understand what's happening. So I'm not oh yeah, I need 80 gallons of blood on the screen to feel there people are dying. It's nah, I get it, so that's enough.
I would legitimately, I would love if we really had to do the sense, if we really have to censor that much, I say go all out with the styling, make it so unsettling and distorted that the horror that came more from the violence is replaced with just the sheer confusion or just stress in general. I do some some MC etcher type stuff.
Yeah, and I also think that if we do get a little messier thing, we can also expect that they might actually be cool and let us see a bit more of the results of Dabi's big blows, because Dabi and Gaten, because we've talked about this and they even mentioned it during the war. It's damn, Gaten will smack his own allies. So I would love to see as people are moving in because they want to collapse on the league, you just see all the fire and stuff rushing through, and we actually see some people getting cooked. Just because that that Dabi caught hella bodies just based off the size of some of those attacks. There's no way that he didn't just cook some people, because those were building some of those were as big as city blocks. So I'm all right. Also, it looks like Nagant's face got blown off.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna pray. I'm
Yes,
gonna
that's the
pray
thing
to
about it.
Hori that maybe this is just some cosmetic damage. Maybe you know what? If we're gonna be more tolerant, she doesn't need a conventionally attractive face to be valuable. We spread positivity. She can live without a face.
Well, it comes down to just how cooked she is. But her arm is heavily damaged. It looks like she doesn't have a face anymore. Which the real problem with that is exposed brain and stuff like that.
Right.
It looks like part of the front of her thighs have been blown off too, so she might actually have been chunked. What this does do, though, is that more than likely Hawks rush to Deku, and Endeavor or Genist rush to All Might. And the idea of Endeavor, that could be setting up Endeavor having to save All Might, which is going to lead to more conversations, obviously.
Good. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, like forcing Endeavor to save All Might and then them to have to actually like sit there and talk about it, especially because I could see All Might feeling some of that personal guilt due to knowing just how that secret, not knowing like how the power was done, all that other stuff is part of what like drove Endeavor up the wall.
I want that conversation so much.
Yeah.
Like, I need to hear All
I
Might's
feel robbed that we
response to
didn't get it yet.
what in the world the Commission were doing. Like, he has to have not known, right?
I don't know.
That feels like so out of like character, because like a big thing I kind of like marked All for One's reign is just like this tension in the air, you know, that you were never really truly free under him. Like, you were always in this box where as long as he could use you, you were alive. I feel like the government operating on the same logic would elicit the same response, or maybe, I guess, we read him wrong.
I mean, that's why it's interesting that like All for One said that he ruled from the shadows and now he wants to rule like more openly. So to a certain degree, like yeah, I think that's just like the box that Japan's going to be put under. Like if that's the case, I don't know.
Because the thing is, like All for One, he ruled Japan for decades, but he was more like, you know, that type of mob guy in the shadows that not a lot of people could get to, besides his own men. So it's like, you know, he was doing his stuff, you know, far away, controlling the country, but now he wants to be the big dog, and everybody's looking to him. Although in chapter 59, I think I mentioned this, like they revised history to where All for One's existence was kind of erased from the history books. So, and All Might knew about that. I think he might have even supported it, but
it kind of like I feel like All Might, the fact that All Might didn't make it a point to have people know he fought All for One makes it very likely that he just enabled the erasure because he was like, yeah, like symbol of peace. But I don't think he was aware like of the backroom killings and all that other stuff. I still don't think that's like what All Might was about or aware of, but
I don't think so either.
Also,
I mean, I'd be surprised if he was, but
so the main thing that you know what, I'll talk about the JJK chapter later when I'm doing a collab with some of my homies, because actually like a lot of like the implication of this JJK chapter and like what it set up and what it kind of reflects about not only Naoya but also Naobito.
All I gotta say is like
They
Maki
were
is
thinking
so
they were
top
that
5
good.
right now, man.
Whoa.
So top
People
5.
haven't. I read it, but you know, chat hasn't read it yet. So, and we still got.
That's what I was like. I just noticed.
No. Like when we first saw like Maki in the series, I was cool with her, but now it's like the respect for her has gone up like tenfold, especially after the work she put in Shibuya.
Yeah.
Y'all think Maki is the... So one of the things that I'm thinking of, I thought about is I have a feeling about like the whole Nobara situation, but I would say that it would kind of make sense if we infuse the pre-story, like the prequel and the main story, that Maki's the real female lead of JJK since she's been around longer.
I mean, because he did. Oh, I know I can't say that. You know who he brought back recently. I can't speak because you know we have anime only. So I'm transporting.
Yeah. I'm not.
But you know who came back recently. So I nigga don't even like you. Say here, say here, but like Yuji. I don't know how you don't even like your own MC. That's just fucked up.
Yeah. But yeah.
I mean, hey, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
We got any more topics on the chapter you guys want to bring up, or we want to start wrapping this up?
One thing I want to discuss is when do you think?
Because like both you and Saya started at the same time, so you go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so one thing I'm kind of interested in is what is the like? When does Fajin start collecting kinetic energy?
I think you have to consciously activate it to have it
Yep.
stockpiled. That's like the
Yeah.
one thing that I think makes it, because like I think One for All stockpiles the energy. Period. I think Fajin, you have to actively be telling it to stockpile energy, like consciously making the decision to charge it, like you put your phone on the charge.
So you think that it's an emitter? It requires an activation to start storing.
Yep.
Like how Finks has to wind up his shit before it actually has the power in like Hunter x Hunter.
Especially since it's an earlier quirk. I think it because like it just like letting you stockpile and then pull up feels like a thing that would happen with the current era of quirks, like Fajin. Like if Fajin came out in Deku's generation, it would be like ever since the day he was born, every breath, everything he was taking has been stockpiling energy for him to release at moments. But since it's from the old era, I think it constantly requires maintenance, usage, etc. And that because like if it was always storing, it would actually have just been a good quirk for back then and now. So it kind of has to be delivered. But real quick, Sayas, what were you going to say?
My question was about Hawks, because I have to be honest, in this chapter, he kind of disappeared out of nowhere for me. I mean, of course, I know that he was with this genius and Endeavor, but it's also, he's just there. And he's also so seemingly mid-air. How did he get there?
What do you mean?
Of course, it could be that just because we don't see much of the panel, that he's actually standing on the ground and we just don't see the ground.
Well, we know Hawks' wings can detect sound.
Yeah, and he does have some feathers here, so it's I was just a little bit confused about where exactly his quirk is, because he clearly has feathers.
Finally,
he seems to be able to do some flying. Apparently,
after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know the exact time frame, so it's between 2 weeks to a month at this point.
Yep.
Well, I typically just use the minimum, so I say like 2 weeks.
It does seem to be regrowing at least.
I mean, like I said,
though they seem way weaker because in Pro Hero, only one feather could carry an adult man, let alone like a trained agent in Nagant.
No, of course. I don't say that he's growing back to his normal strength, but I've been kind of throughout the last few chapters, I was kind of confused what exactly Hawk's role is here, because he seemed like this powerless guy who just tagged along because he knows a lot of stuff. He clearly still has powers, even if they are very weak at the moment.
Like I said, if they actually did come back, they wouldn't be on the same wavelength as they were before.
And Horikoshi has been deliberate with his wings, because he made it a point to draw him without them multiple times and finally draw him with them now. So this is clearly like he will very slowly get them back, and he's slowly managing to recover. So,
but he won't ever be back at the same strength he was before. Back at that prime healing. And I don't think that's just because I hate that nigga. I told you. Him getting his wings back just helps. Him just getting his wings back just helps me more about that nigga dying. He in the fray. And I hope y'all don't think they just gonna let that slide.
I mean, I think he's personally getting set up for death by Toya, because one thing I kind of noticed is that have you ever heard like the Frankenstein theory with Dobby?
Oh, that he's Frankenstein's monster?
Yeah, and there's a lot of similarities with it. Like, for example, some of his he actually did like a direct pose from the movie. So like my idea was Hawks, and I don't know if everyone else thought about this, but in the novel, Victor's best friend is a man by the name of Henry Clerval. And if we agree that Victor is Enji Todoroki, the creator of this monster, then we could also logically kind of come to the conclusion that the Clerval of this story will be Hawks, therefore murdered by the creature, which would be Dobby. So that's what I think his role is going to be.
Even though he's supposed to be a beacon of hope?
I mean, there's ways you can still be a beacon of hope and still go out. Like I said, I was willing to give y'all.
I mean, All Might was a beacon of hope, and and look how down bad he is.
And now that's why he needs to die.
Mm-hmm. But like I was saying, I was willing to give everybody like, all right, he ain't in the paint, he's safe, he can do the commission because he knew what was wrong. But Nagant even really showcased that further. But she down bad right now, so it's like, what we doing? Because I told you, Horikoshi can. I was honest about it before, but y'all didn't see that tweet. But Horikoshi can literally write it to the point where it's like, all right, Nagant and Hawk survive, but they're the leaders of the commission now, and I would accept only because Horikoshi is right for the story. I'm not going to place what I want over that, but I would still get retribution for Hawk twice in some way, shape, or form. But if they were to live and start leading the commission in the future because they seen the dark or they know what the fuck is the bad in this shit and how to lead it better, then I'd be like, all right. But now it's like, the guy hit wings and Toga, and say what you want about, Dabi Nakamba, but Toga and Shigaraki not just let that go. And he in the fray with the most prominent players on screen right now with the biggest death flags. So,
Bro, when All Might and All for One die, like, I'm gonna be a happy man. I ain't capping.
It'd be like that.
Like,
But also,
even wait, like, I swear, like, All for One, he like so evil, so much like demon in him, but it's like, I just can't help but hate this dude. He takes everything cool, and then he's like, ha ha ha, you gotta go wait more, Tomura, ha.
Oh,
Listen.
you like this thing? I'm gonna take it away from you. Fuck you.
Listen, I can't wait until that Nick man. Y'all don't think y'all understand. I cannot wait until tomorrow wake up. I swear to God, the person I'm gonna turn to when this nigga start his conquest and dust that old nutsack, mushmouth, mushroom head ass nigga that ain't got no fucking heart. I swear to God, I can't wait until he dusts that nigga. I'm getting sick and tired of this nigga taking everything in the fucking serious. I need this nigga dead.
So
Yeah.
literally, Naya is screaming right now because every people that he loves goes away.
Yeah, Naya was so upset. He was like, bro, I can't have shit. He like, they took away All Might. They took away like Million. He was like, I like Nagant. They took her away too, man.
I swear, All for One just be like the dude who just like I feel like his meta reasoning for existing is like, let me just like make the audience as like miserable as possible.
Yeah.
Like,
I
see all
love
this
his
cool
reason.
stuff
I
the
just
other
love
stuff
World
will take
of
that
One.
away. Yeah.
I love these actions because we need that in reality. Because reality would be like this. Oh, I think I found the right guy. Boom! You explode.
The love-hate relationship.
Like, I hate how evil he is, but it's like, dang, you're so good at being evil. Like, I
Yeah.
can't help but be impressed. You feel me?
all right, so we're gonna start winding down.
Hold on, I want to say this real quick before we all start winding down. I just want to say that nigga Off One never shed a tear in his life, and you can't tell me otherwise.
Hey, he should have teared when he couldn't finish his favorite manga. What you mean, bro?
he finished it where he wanted to. That nigga, even on his own rules, he said, "Yo, your ending don't exist. It ends where I say it's."
Gotta love that man.
I can't help but hate him, but he's so good at his job. Like,
He's too
I
good at
don't
his
hate
job.
him. I just love him for this. That's really weird. I can't hate All for One because he's just like that good. You know?
Like, no one's gonna mourn this man's death. I cannot name like one fan who will see this man dead and be like, "Oh, he was such a good person. He was so emotional." Like, nah, we gonna be happy.
Maybe the doctor. Maybe.
Facts.
Yeah. So. All right, time to go around the horn. Let's see. Honzu.
Oh wait, there was one more.
Thoughts.
Hold on.
What?
Oh, I forgot. There was one more thing that I wanted to discuss, and this was the big thing of the chapter. Right now, there's this element of like AFO's henchman. He can't risk. There's a risk of now trying to save them now.
Oh yeah, because like if you try to save them, you can easily just still end up killing them. But
Yeah.
even if she died here, if you remember, we had death as another form of saving. She was never going to be allowed to go back into normal society because of the way the Hero Commission had painted her. She was so like she was always going to be stuck going back to prison just because she killed the president of the Hero Commission. There's no legal way of coming back from that. Really, she would have either lived in hiding. So like, no matter what happens, she would have been stuck in a position where she couldn't have been happy, if you think about it. Or she would have been stuck working for All for One, and eventually she would have hated that too and wanted to kill him, and then still gotten murdered. So the only thing that the only salvation for Lady Nagant really is death, and I think that this is kind of setting up some stuff where we do have to wonder if it's going to come down to like some people actually having to get splattered by the Iron Tims.
Shigaraki.
Exactly.
Like, I really think I really think that adds like another element to the story because it's like, there's kind of, no matter how inaccurate these complaints are, there's kind of like this fear of like talk no jutsu becoming a thing, especially with Deku wanting to actually save these people now. But now that kind of adds like an extra wrench into things because let's say he does succeed, and keep in mind, Nagant I would say was an easy case because she didn't even want to hurt him at the start. Like she was like holding back a lot, not even trying to cripple the dude because he's a kid, and for an easier case like that, that was he succeeded. But there's going to be way harder cases, and even after all that effort, he would still be he would still lose at the end, like because again this evil contract ability where he could just kill someone for breaking a promise that I guess he set up himself. Like I want to know how that ability works. Like he can't just be like because does he like plant?
It's like a binding vow in JJK.
Yes, yeah, it's a binding vow. That's what I originally said. Yeah, like on Friday and stuff.
So it's just one of the things. I'm cool with it. I like it. It shows that like in this case, like I think All For One genuinely relied on mental manipulation back in the day, and I think now he's actually going harder in the realm of
like I was thinking like in 193, like when he says when he like takes that one kid's jaw quirk that got him disowned from his family and then gives the other quirk to that old guy who got jumped by a bunch of teens. Like when he says like in exchange for loyalty, you get these abilities. Were they under contract?
They might have been.
Like, how many bombs were planted in that army to where they were essentially unsavable?
But the question is, how did he do that? That's a question.
How did he know a person? Because he only has one ability. So it's like, how did he learn of someone who had this binding vow type ability? How did that dude learn about it? Did he just like kill him and then take it?
Could it maybe tie into the aspect of having multiple quirks, like destroying somebody's body, like just enhancing that or something?
I think it's a little more simple.
Because it looked like she was hold on. Sorry.
So I think it's a little more simple than that because you have like one, we've already seen that you can like combine quirks like as far as like concepts go, like with the air cannon combined with the electrostatic wave, but then also. You realize that we've already seen an example of a bomb quirk with Curious, and that quirk wasn't especially powerful. And Bakugo's dad's quirk was like an asset that could explode, but he had to like make a really strong impact. So if you think about it that way, he likely just created a bomb quirk and then just knows how to implant it in people and make them bombs in case and if they do certain things, then the condition is set.
Like, I'm very interested how that works because the cracking in the face, it kind of reminded me of like the Fourth's ability, the Fourth scar, which kind of came from his overloading. I wonder if it kind of acts as like, it kind of like takes control of your quirk factor, supercharges it, kind of like Trigger, and then you explode from the lack of adaptation in your body.
It's completely possible.
Yeah. I think what fascinated me the most about it was just how it triggers. Is he actually able to read somebody's mind with this quirk and
because he had to detect the change of heart?
Or because it changed change of heart, or is it because he had some way to surveil what's happening and saw, well, now she's changing. So
it is possible that this is all connected to the vestige world. So my thing is it's just like way too soon for us to like try to crack this one.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about before. I was like, I would let this one just ride because this is
Oh no, I'm not trying to
this is
like
way
judge
too
it or
like-
anything. I just want to like discuss some possibilities.
Yeah.
Right.
Also,
No,
it
I
seems
know, I
as
know,
if
I know that.
like
I'm just saying, like, this is a lot of shit in the dark. Like, I'm still confused why the fuck. I think Shuichi and Gio said like, why does nigga look like he a fucking groundhog? Because something around that nigga neck too. Like, I don't know what type of fluff he got around his neck, but that shit is kind of weird.
yeah, like he like pops. It's almost as if he's like popping out of the rifle itself. But Nagant has her arm. Because like look at the material surrounding it. It looks like the rifle flesh. But she has the arm itself.
Well, let's see. Because like if you would think about it, I feel like if that was like AFO actually popping up and talking, then effectively what it would mean is that there's like a small vestige of AFO that like can be left inside people when he gives them quirks. But like it's a we gotta wait. We just gotta wait.
We have to wait. We have to.
Right. Yeah.
That leaves one major question, I think. What's gonna happen with Chisaki?
Yeah, because he has his own. Okay, so like in the overall narrative, he's probably going to be the doctor for the heroes that investigates quirk singularity, or at least the good guy side. Let's not say heroes, I guess. But his own like emotional like plot line is getting to reunite with his father.
It just means that like Overhaul and Deku will be having a discussion, and whether or not that leads to him going straight to prison, them trying to figure out a way to develop quirk erasing bullets or some other shit, I don't know. But it does put a lot of stuff on the table with Overhaul being here, because we do have the opportunity for a scientist who would probably work for the heroes in exchange to get back to the boss.
I actually sorry, I thought you were pretty done.
No, and especially under the circumstances of like the grandfather never did anything wrong to Eri, so depending on how much she actually remembers her grandfather or not, she could be potentially willing to use her gift to save the boss, even if Overhaul does still go to jail. So
yeah, I really think that we will use this however it's gonna work to heal the boss, because the boss doesn't deserve what's happened to him, and even if he were, I mean, of course he's a Yakuza, so he is a bit of a villain, but even if he were like a real villain, they are still heroes, and if they get the opportunity to heal this guy, they should try.
Yeah, they're not. But that's the thing. People are kind of trying to rush that plot line when I think it'd be more built out, because nobody, bro, they not finna go be like, all right, unless Chisaki has some information, I'm like, all right, we're going to Deku. I'm like, all right, we drop everything. We go help Chisaki's boss right now. If you kind of haven't noticed, they got more pressing matters to worry about at this point. They're only lead, as far as we know, just kind of blew up in their face in the most literal sense possible. And I don't mean that metaphorically.
You know AFO changed that drop-off spot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like they have more pressing issues to matter about than like that. And then I'll also say this too. Don't be saying we need to see stay in this arc. We need to like, this ain't the end of anything. It's like this is the end of the arc. Like it would most likely be dubbed the Rogue Gallery arc if we had all of them come back. But
we don't know enough about anything to
be like, all right, we definitely finna see staying. Like, I wouldn't say all that, because they none of y'all calling Nagant blowing up point blank in Deku face. So I would temper our we did this before. Temper on what we expect. All right.
So yeah. All right.
I would just like.
All right.
Okay.
So we're doing final thoughts.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
So, Squid, you don't get any final thoughts because you keep stopping us from having final thoughts.
Wow. I can respect it.
Damn.
I'm kidding, Squid. You get 30 seconds. Tops.
All right.
Go.
Mm-hmm. Wait, right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Like the video, like get the 100
seconds.
likes. Get the
Oh,
100 likes, people.
you just got, man. I just. Okay.
Just speak.
All right, so 8. All right, so I give this an 8 out of 10. AFO. This move was consistent in character. Nagant's change of heart was is not talk no jutsu. It's just
it's just her own internal development, realizing that Deku is not like one of the bad guys that she should be hunting down. Um, Dope art. Full 100% is gonna uh is a very good boost. It's logical and it was very well illustrated. I have to see 316 to really like cement like a final rating depending on what happens. It can up or lower the score. I'm treating it more as a duo. Altogether, as of now, 8 out of 10.
All right.
Somebody timed that?
Fonzu.
It was 47 seconds.
It was a great chapter. I love the development that we had here, like Squid said about Nagant, Ma Argot, FAO just showed why he's the master, the old master, the old monkey. You don't show the old monkey how to make some jokes. So yep, I can't wait to see what's happening next. It was an 8 and 10 for me. Can't wait to see more about Fajin and to see how Deku is gonna try to implement all this stuff in his fighting style because from what we see he has a lot to learn because the lack something that is said about him having so much options limit him also. The thing for him is that he has to learn how to have a parallel processing for every quirk, for every type of situation. So if we get that, that would be the end goal for me. And that's how I see the end goal. That at one moment when you know that he has to hit hard, that he use Fajin, one moment that he has to, without like he's really thinking, it must be reflexes when he has to protect himself in a vision way that he directly use without thinking. Uh, smoke, smoke screen, uh, all these quirks have to become like just reflexes, and it's gonna take time, exercise, and we are here to see that. Right now we see Deku struggling step by step to do all this stuff. I can't wait to see him shooting some people too with the quirk of the second one. So yeah, yep. Great promises. You know what to do. You know what to do. Like the video, like the stream. Yeah. Subscribe and go to my channel too to check out the next to be there when my first videos come out. Subscribe. Bye. Mwah.
All right. Let's see. Walk-ins.
Yo, this chapter is pretty good. I'm kind of on the boat with Squid on. I kind of need the next chapter for the just to kind of it'll determine whether or not how I feel about this, mainly because of the fallout with Nagant here. But I mean, overall, like Horikoshi's got this. I believe in him. He'll give us something that we need, deserve, and if we've been paying attention and reading, we'll understand and all that. I like the idea of the faux or pseudo, whatever terminology you want to use, that kind of fake 100%. Gonna just plug my Fajin video for something similar that I was talking about in that video. But yeah, I really like the chapter. I hate All for One for possibly getting rid of Nagant because she was climbing up there as one of my favorite characters of the series. And, All for One, you made me waste a beer today for pouring one out. So you owe me about like $5 for that, All for One. But overall, great chapter. Looking forward to next week. That's pretty much all I got. Yep.
All right. Sayas.
Okay, then let me be controversial. For me, this is a good 6 out of 10. The reason is I actually think it's not like I dislike the chapter. I thought it was entertaining
No
and
endeavor.
that's not the reason. The reason is I'm not. The whole arc so far for me is kind of my heart is not in it. I can't really explain it. I think it is the reason that Deku is alone and he's been alone for so long. And I hope that now that Hawks has caught up at least, gonna get some more. The thing is, I've said it again and again. I've said it before that I'm not the biggest fan of the whole AFO of A thing, which of course I know is an important part of the story. So I'm not complaining that it's here. I know that it had to have happened. It's just that my heart is not in it. My heart is not in it with the whole prior predecessors of the quirk. For me, they are for the most part great character designs that I find interesting to look at, but I don't really connect to any of them. I can barely remember the names for that part, if they even have a name at this point. So it's my heart is not completely in it. I don't really know where this story is going. I'm kind of confused as to. First, I thought Deku was running away because he knew that AFO was chasing him and he didn't want to get the AFO to hunt him down and then hurt others through it. But now it seems more like he's actually baiting him out, but it's also like we all know he's not ready to fight him. So what exactly is the plan? I'm not sure where this arc is going. And this is something that has been bothering me with this arc for a while. And I have been sitting here waiting to understand the direction where it's going. And I don't quite am there yet, but I'm kind of running out of patience with understanding. This is an arc where I think when it's over and it's all went well, I might look back at it and like it much more. But at the moment where it is, I don't really know where it's going. I don't enjoy Deku alone that much. I don't enjoy the whole predecessor stuff that much. For me, it's like a good training arc. It's good, and it keeps me entertained. But it's also my heart is not in it. I can't really explain it that well, I think.
It's okay, Says. We understand there's not enough endeavor.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yes, we know that. We know that.
We understand.
It's okay. Archbishop East.
I mean, there is endeavor in this arc. It's just, I don't know. Deku
Not
alone
enough.
doesn't excite me that much.
You already know who it is. The number one superstar of the GOAT, the number one man, Kohei Horikoshi, baby. And we back again, undefeated in the East. Once again, I win. Because what I tell y'all, I don't know if it could go this way, or it can't happen this way, or Deku gonna capture her, so the plot can move this way. Blah. You're wrong. You know, right? The nigga who always just let his mangaka write the story. I told y'all about the monkey wrenches. You can't see this, you can't see that. That's because you don't have the vision that Horikoshi got. Shout out to Nagant for putting in the work, but her ass blown the fuck up. I don't know what happens next off of this, but I let Horikoshi do his thing, and I don't be disappointed like some of y'all. Stop overacting on these, because I told y'all niggas I have zero patience, and I don't want to hear your fucking excuses. We do this every week. You overreact, then you be like, oh, well, don't get on me because I was wrong because I overreacted. It's in hindsight, you do this shit over and over. If you keep fucking electrocuting, if you keep sticking a fork in an electric socket and you keep electrocuting yourself, whose fault is that after the first 5 times? Because it definitely ain't me. It's most likely you. But hey, man, to get on the chapter again, woo, listen, this shit is, I'm absolutely loving this arc. Personally, it's like been one of the best fights in the series, and it just every time I just see Deku doing the shit he's doing, it always just boosts me in the degree that it's not just about Deku. Everybody else is in the streets doing other things too. So I can't wait to see how the other kids are going to level up and showcase their skills that they've learned through combat, whether it be team battles, 1v1s, etc., what have you. And just going forward, I'm really excited to see all this. I mean, honestly, the unprecedented unpredictability is what I'm loving right now more than anything, because when people think they know what's going to happen, they like to project, and then it doesn't happen, then they get upset. So the entire fact that we just can't really predict, or we don't know where things are going, is what I'm loving more than anything, because I like the Horikoshi putting everybody in their place. Nobody can maybe predict, because y'all get y'all head cannons and y'all make sure he has to do this, or this needs to happen this arc, or that. Like, no, stop doing that. That's how you get disappointed. But man, listen, the art beautiful. Horikoshi is saying his art is coming. He's finding more time to sketch in the schedule, so that's better for his health. And above all else, man, 2 weeks and we finna see NBA. Are we excited?
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks, man.
Yes. But hey, man, the chapter was a peak fiction out of 10. This is one of the absolutely blown away. Deku was getting up there, man. I'm loving his versatility. And Nagant, he didn't talk no just to Nagant. Get that bullshit out of here. She was never a fucking villain like Dobby. She know that real heroes existed. She just didn't want to go back to that false ass society that the government was holding up. But he retouched her heart and really know that, yeah, there's some real niggas like us out there. Don't worry about that. Hey, man.
Totally.
Soon enough, tomorrow come back, we get nutsack face out of here, man. Horikoshi the GOAT. God tier out of 10.
All right, there we go. All right, y'all. Appreciate everybody coming through. Enjoyed the stream. I'm gonna be hella busy today, but I'm trying to get that solo review out for you guys. Talk about some extra stuff. You know, I always keep a little something in the back pocket for the solo videos for those who stay and make sure to explore the whole channel. The way this is going, I'm actually fond of it. I know Sayas said you didn't, you know, you're not enjoying as much, but I'm actually kind of invested in all this stuff now at this point. So kind of want to see what's going on. Could Nagant live? Could she die? I don't know. She took a lot of damage. I very well could see her dying, mostly to drive home that Deku can't save everyone, and to finally have him, like, because Ochako already got to go through the whole, I was literally holding someone and it was worthless. Nothing I did mattered. So same thing, I kind of hope finally goes through Deku's head, especially because he's been running around doing the whole solo thing, even if he has had All Might and them back him up. Might help him appreciate the people around him more. Let me know what you guys thought, though. Shit, that's it. We out. We